is Paula Pennebaker. She is the former Chief Executive Officer of the YWCA Southeast Wisconsin. The host committee is in charge of raising money and organizing volunteers for the convention. Forecast for Milwaukee and Madison. Tonight, mostly clear skies, lows around 12 degrees in Milwaukee, 7 in Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the mid-30s. And then for Sunday, mostly cloudy with highs in the upper 40s. You are tuned in to Wisconsin's Political Talk Network.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. TGIF to you, my little buddy. Come on, Gary, turn on your mic. I got neither one of you guys. So we are the Devil's Advocates. I've got two fine co-hosts. Apparently they are struggling with gremlins in the studio. We'll rectify momentarily. Matt Flynn from Matt Flynn Direct and Dominic Salvia from the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Join me when you can. But let me tell all the fine listeners, we got a big event coming up Monday night. Tomorrow is South Carolina Saturday. Tomorrow, the next primary in the Democratic presidential race. And then come Super Monday, that will be Monday, March 2nd. We've got candidate interviews to broadcast. You boys joining me for this big show?
Well, we got a show going on today?
Better late than never, boys. Hey, Matt Flynn, how you doing, man?
Good to be here, man. Good to be on Devil's Advocate.
Thanks, Matt.
Man, I was just telling people, coming up on Super Monday on the Wisconsin Political Talk Network, we're going to play out candidate interviews. Start with my guy, Bernie Sanders, at 7 p.m., and then your guy, Joe Biden, at 7:30 p.m.
Yep.
Pete Buttigieg at 8, Amy Klobuchar at 8:30, Elizabeth Warren at 9 Central Time. And apparently, if you're a billionaire, you got to buy your way on the airwaves. They'll find their way. They'll find his way
on the air.
That's a newly announced event. We're excited to bring it to you because, of course, next Tuesday is Super Tuesday. But before we get there, Matt, your boy Biden better make his last stand in South Carolina.
He's looking good.
Or it's going to be his Waterloo, man.
Real good. No, here's the deal. I'm looking at the Super Tuesday states. I'm thinking my boy wins tomorrow, okay? I mean, with Jim Clyburn's endorsement, he's going to win tomorrow. He's going to win a decent way. Super Tuesday.
How confident of the victory are you?
I'm very confident of the victory.
Is one vote enough, Matt?
No.
I mean, Joe
votes.
Biden was asked this week.
He needs two. I'm kidding you. He's going to win big.
Do you think he'll win by double digits?
Well, if he wins by double digits, Bernie should drop out. Okay, Bernie should drop out. He's not going to. He's not going to win by double digits.
Why?
Obviously.
Joe didn't drop out after Nevada.
Joe came in second in Nevada. He did really well. Everybody else should have dropped out. But look, it's Super Tuesday. He can win Alabama. I think he wins Georgia. I think that he certainly wins Virginia. Tim Kaine just endorsed him, the senator from there.
I'm less convinced that Tim Kaine has any juice, even in his home state. Look at what Tim Kaine did for Hillary.
Well, he beat Trump by 3 million votes. That's what he did for Hillary. He couldn't hold Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Come on. But, in Massachusetts, Bernie's going to beat Warren. Bernie's going to win California. Bernie and Biden are pretty close in Texas. I think it's going to be a Bernie-Biden race coming out of Super Tuesday with Bloomberg spending $1 billion. That's what's going to happen in my view.
Well, that part you might have right, Matt. Let's assume let's assume that your boy Biden wins South Carolina. He is currently predicted to do so. Depending on which polling, and the polling, as you mentioned before we went on the air, Matt, it's kind of been all around the charts.
I agree.
But let's assume something approaching a double-digit lead for Joe Biden currently in South Carolina. He wins by at least one vote. He gets to claim victory.
He only has to win by 3 or 4%, and then it's a good victory. You know that.
Sure,
but yeah, okay.
Sure, absolutely.
Right.
I'm not going to contest the outcome unless I have to. But here's the problem, man. The bump is a very short-lived bump.
Yep.
And Joe Biden is flat-ass broke, man, and I know what that feels like sometimes, Matt, but I'm telling you, your boy doesn't have any money. He is not competing ahead. He is not currently competing on Super Tuesday. And any positive bump, and I think he could get a bump, but he's not going to get the reward of the bump in time to bump his outcome in Super Tuesday. And the polling I've seen, Matt, would seem to indicate that Bernie Sanders could have a lot of big victories on Super Tuesday.
Well, I think he will, but first of all, Biden is bringing in a couple of million a day right now. I'm on his email list, and that bump came in.
And that's just from you, right?
And that's just me. And, listen, I'm going to miss some meals. But the point of the matter is, comes in second in Nevada, and then Jim Clyburn, it opened it up. Now, he's not going to have as much money as Bernie, but he is on the air, and he will be in some of these states, not all of them. He's probably not going to spend a lot of money in Alabama because he's going to win Alabama. But certainly in Texas, California, and the rest of them, Warren is the one, Crudy. Warren is the one that's got to watch out. If she comes in second or maybe even third in Massachusetts, that's not a good thing. I mean, it's just not a good thing. She's got to step it up. Man,
you've been a Democratic Party chair elected here in the state of Wisconsin.
Right.
And I've got to ask you, you're more political than perhaps Tom or I. We've never been insiders. Hell, we're lucky if we get invited to these parties. But let's assume South Carolina comes, and, we see Bernie, we see Biden, perhaps not in that order. Yeah. Let's call it Biden, Bernie, and then you see, maybe a Tom Steyer who's invested a lot of his money there.
Right.
And then you see all these other candidates who are making their claim for the centrist lane, be it Buttigieg, be it Klobuchar, or even Bloomberg. And they've got nothing to show for it, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth place finish in South Carolina. And they get no bump from that. And then Super Tuesday comes immediately. When, as a party chair, as the hammer, when you start dropping the hammer, when you start giving these people a persuasive nudge to get the hell out of the way?
Right. First of all, Bloomberg is not on the ballot Saturday, so his bump is $1 billion in advertising, and he's staying in no matter what. Buttigieg is at 2 or 3% right now in South Carolina. Buttigieg is unfairly, in my view, and Klobuchar is down in the low single digits, and Warren goes between like 8 and 9% and 12%. So my view, Perez is not going to, he's the chairman, he's not going to do anything to anybody. But my view is I would talk to these people and say, look, especially to Amy and especially to Buttigieg, if they get smoked in a lot of these states, is say, look, stay if you want. But I mean, frankly, you can be a deal maker right now. Commit your support to somebody. They'll end up in the cabinet. Amy could be Attorney General. Buttigieg could be a cabinet officer, and he should be.
But neither one of them are going to be president,
no, they're
at least
not
not this
president.
term.
No, right, not this time. Maybe in the future. But but Biden, this is it. Sanders, this is it. Bloomberg, this is it. And we'll see what happens.
Matt, what about the super PAC spending? It has come in on behalf of Klobuchar, apparently in Super Tuesday states. It has come in on behalf of Elizabeth Warren, who just 2 weeks ago was denouncing super PAC money until
$9 million.
She accepted the benefit of super PAC money. Sort of a home state thing. Let's talk about Minnesota. Dominic and I will be on the road. We'll be broadcasting live on Super Tuesday, a spectacular in Minnesota next Tuesday. I encourage you all to tune in. I know you will. We're going to go live from 7 to 11 p.m., not just here, but also on KTNF, AM 950 AM in Minneapolis. And Klobuchar is going to have her party, her victory party in Minneapolis, St. Paul more specifically, about 30 minutes from us. And right now, that is her state. It's Super Tuesday, and she leads in her home state, which will vote Minnesota, and that may be her claim to fame that night. But let me ask you quickly. I've seen, let's call it a dim establishment type that is getting really mad at Bernie Sanders for going into Massachusetts and campaigning in Elizabeth Warren's backyard and going into Minnesota, which I didn't see he did, but apparently he did, and campaigning in Klobuchar's backyard. Is it fair? I mean, shouldn't Bernie be trying to win all across the map, right?
No, look.
Or is that bad juju somehow? Insiders don't go campaign in each other's backyards.
First of all, he's in a state adjacent to Massachusetts, and he's going to beat Warren there, in my view. Secondly, I'm a little uncertain. On Google, as I looked up Minnesota, it says with caucuses. Now, that may be an error, but I'd want more clarity, what's going on up there. But, no, you stay out of a state if there's what's called a favorite son. In other words, a revered senator who's not running for president. But if you have a senator who's in there in the boxing ring running for president, you go everywhere you think you can win.
Right.
Biden probably thinks I'm not going to win in Minnesota, so he won't spend a ton of dough. Maybe Bernie can, and if they're caucuses, Bernie absolutely can, or part caucuses, part primary, part caucus. I don't know.
If Warren loses third place, let's say she's third in Massachusetts, is it time for her to get out?
Yes. I mean, yes. And the point is, I mean, if Biden is third in South Carolina, it's time for him to get out too. I mean, at some point, you got to have a reality check. She may be third. She'll certainly, in my view, be second in Massachusetts. She's got to look at this thing. She's 71 years old. She could be in the cabinet. But how long do you stay? How long does the money come in? That's the issue.
If Klobuchar cannot win Minnesota, and I mean, how ironic the state of Mondale, but if she could win Minnesota, does that give her license to stay in the race even if she does poorly everywhere else? Or is that enough if she loses Minnesota? Is she effectively out of it?
If Bernie beats her in Minnesota, she came in fifth in Iowa, and Iowa's right next to Minnesota. She's got to start thinking about it. If she wins Minnesota, which she should, my view is she stays another week or two. But where's the money?
Just for the record here, fellas, Wikipedia says that Minnesota, Governor Mark Dayton signed a bill that would reinstate the presidential primary starting in 2020.
Oh, good. Okay.
Come on, man. I had no doubt. I knew the polls were closing.
Google says caucuses too. Who knows? But the point of the matter is, if the money drives up, you drop out. If it doesn't, you stay in.
Matt Flynn.
Man, you got somewhere to be, man.
Yeah, you got another 10 minutes?
Yeah, I could be around if you want me.
Matt Flynn,
you trying to get me to leave? You kicking me out or what?
No, we wanted to stick around. I have some questions. Being the Dem insider that you are, I want to get your take on what happens here in Milwaukee at the DNC. Do you think it'll be a contested primary, and what would that look like?
Convention, you mean? It's absolutely a contested primary. Will it be a brokered convention?
So hold that.
He's already got his cigar smoking in the back room.
Okay,
He's
I
ready
got to light
for
my
it.
cigar. Okay.
All right, we'll
back
go
after the break.
We'll
right?
go get some scotch. We'll light the cigars, and we'll come back and talk about the DNC in Milwaukee.
Got it.
We're the Devil's Advocates. That's Matt Flynn. Come back with us. Happy Friday, everyone. Phone lines are open. Air your grievances, 844-967-2789.
The one thing we know, and they do say, anybody that runs against Trump suffers.
What's your prediction? Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
Very powerful.
Beating Donald Trump is my life's mission. Winning Wisconsin is the key. We built a progressive Wisconsin talk radio network to do just that. Now I need your help. I need money to complete the mission. Beat Donald Trump. Support progressive radio. Give now at GoFundMe Resistance Radio Wisconsin, or find the Support the Station link on any of our websites. I can't do it alone. Thank you for your help.
Hey folks, this is Darcy Haber from Solidarity Realty. You know I usually like to joke, but there is nothing funny about what's at stake in this year's elections. Thanks to this station owner's using his own life savings and more, we in Wisconsin have an important tool we haven't had in the past to help us win. Mike Crute has bought and built 4 progressive talk radio stations that together cover almost half of Wisconsin's population. But radio stations are expensive and generally don't turn a profit for several years. In the meantime, this debt cannot and should not all sit on Crute's shoulders. Right now, we need to crowdfund Resistance Radio to keep it on the airwaves. Thanks to all who have already donated, we have raised nearly $10,000. The goal is $60,000. I know we can do it. Please help support progressive radio in Wisconsin today by going to GoFundMe, searching for Resistance Radio Wisconsin, and giving what you can. Together, we can keep Resistance Radio on the air and defeat Donald Trump.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday, everyone. We stream on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. And, of course, on the phones. Toll free, talk or text 844-967-2789.
Dominic, real quick, I'm doing the Sauk County Democratic Party fundraiser this Sunday up in Baraboo. It goes on at the Country Club from 10 to 1. And our good friend Tammy Wood, she's one of the organizers. And it's not just me, although, clearly,
obviously,
we know who the star is going to be.
Come on.
But also Senator John Erpenbach, our good friend, and Sarah Godlewski, the treasurer of the great state of Wisconsin. They will be, the warm-up acts, if you will. So I look forward to that event, and we've got a fine guest still in the studios. He's our own Dem insider, or at least he used to be, Matt Flynn, the formerly elected Democratic Party chair of the great state of Wisconsin. Matt, I met with a new prospective client today, and I'm quite optimistic. He's fired up about the progressive brand's going to put some ads on the radio, but sat down with me here in the office today, and he looked at me and he said, "Well, I guess you're not the governor then." Anybody ever do that to you, man?
No, right. You and I both ran for it, and we're not the governor, but frankly, we're smarter than the governor. You are anyway. And the fact of the matter is that, no, who knows? I don't regret it at all. We gave it a shot. You gave it a heck of a shot. I remember your debate with Evers down there here in Milwaukee where he took umbrage at some of the things you had to say.
I've never seen the man swear like a longshoreman until that day.
Your arm either.
Matt Flynn, Direct, thanks for sticking around for a few more minutes. I want to get your take, given your background, how is this going to look in Milwaukee? The concern being for a lot of people, perhaps a guy like Bernie Sanders comes in with a plurality of the delegates, but not the majority. A lot of folks crudely thinking, well, if he's got the majority of them or a plurality of them, he should get it. But the rules are the rules, man. And everyone knows they got in. They changed the rules last time. Everyone knows what the deal is, and it would not necessarily automatically go to the person in the lead. Matt, what's your take on the criticism and the concern, and are you satisfied with the rules of this convention?
Well, first of all, I think it's all overblown because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Bernie wanted these rules because last time the superdelegates jumped in, and so these are Bernie's rules. But putting that aside for a moment, the last brokered conventions in the Democratic and Republican parties occurred in 1952. And that was because both the Democrats and Republicans offered their nominations to Dwight Eisenhower, our general, and he thought about it, went Republican. So Adlai Stevenson had to contest somebody else. Estes Kefauver, I think, of Tennessee. It's impossible for there to be a brokered convention. First of all, Bernie goes in. He needs 1,991 delegates. If Bernie or Biden go in and they have 1,700, they're in. What's going to happen is the guy with 100 or 200, 300 makes a deal. If 6 of them go in with something like 400 or 500 each, that ain't going to happen. You
think that those folks would be out before then?
Oh,
they're not going to be around to accumulate that many.
Klobuchar will have 6 or 8 delegates and no money. No, I think that, and then at that point, Perez and the rest sit down and say, look, guys, here's what happens. This guy has 1,600, 1,700. He's going to be the nominee. We don't want to stick it on the superdelegates. There's no doubt in my mind that this will not be a brokered convention. There's no doubt in my mind that it will not go beyond the first ballot, and everybody will know.
Will Wisconsin be a contested primary come April 7th by more than perhaps just Biden and Bernie in our worldview?
I think right now Biden, Bernie, and Bloomberg will be on the ballot on the 7th. The only question in my mind is Steyer and are either Buttigieg or Warren. I don't know. My own view is by the 7th, you're going to find 2 or 3 of them have dropped out.
Man, how come Elizabeth Warren didn't do better? I mean, she's so talented. I am so impressed by her.
Right, I am
and
too.
yet, for whatever reason, she is just not accumulating the votes and the delegates. Why do you? I know it's early. People look at it and say it's early, but people are gaining momentum like Bernie Sanders, perhaps Biden soon. Elizabeth Warren hasn't had anything to hang her hat on. Why do you think that is, Matt?
Well, I met her at the University of Wisconsin Law School in the 90s. I was on a committee to select a speaker for an event. She was there. She is terrific, and I would be comfortable with her as president. I think there's two things. One is Bernie's a true believer. Bernie gets up there and says, Medicare for all, how are you going to pay for it? He'll say, screw you, and he'll just do it. She's up there nuancing, it's sort of like Kamala Harris. Well, I'll postpone it for 2 years or 3 years and people want leadership, and that time she sort of blinked. Secondly, I think what she does is part of it is she was for a while saying we got to unify and she didn't look like, and now she's lately started to attack and she's getting more money in. But I think it really was that. She was for Medicare for all, Bernie was for Medicare for all, but she blinked a little bit on that. And Kamala Harris did. She said she wouldn't implement it until her second term or something. And the minute people hear that, the bugle sounds, you want to go over the hill, take Pork Chop Hill with bayonets, and you don't want somebody saying, well, maybe we should sheath our bayonets. I think that's what's happened, but I may be wrong.
Does that give you an indication that, the people, at least on the Dem side, there's a lot of folks that are down for some sort of Medicare for all? Do you think that we'll get there regardless of who the candidate is, or do you think it matters who the candidate is?
I think Bernie right now is way ahead.
Of course it matters.
He said that because he said it. Biden has said it'll be a public option, which he tried to get in with Obama, and the Republicans knifed him. But that's the main difference between Bernie and Obama, and that's and Biden, and that's one reason right now why Bernie's won the first couple. I agree with that.
Come on, I didn't know Rahm Emanuel was a Republican. He's the one that knifed him. He's the one that killed the public option.
No,
it was his own
not.
brother.
Very well.
The doctor, Emanuel's brother, helped craft the ACA.
But look, Crudy, here's the deal. Obama didn't get rid of the filibuster. That was the problem. And so Rahm Emanuel, he's the technician making the sausage. But Rahm Emanuel isn't taking orders from his brother. It was the Republicans. They're bad, very bad, the Republicans.
Joe, you want to, Joe Lovin, Matt Flynn, you want to put a gentleman's wager, maybe $5 on who wins South Carolina?
Okay, $5 to our favorite charity. Let's put it that way. So you keep your FCC
sure,
license.
The Beer Fund, our favorite charity.
No, the Boys and Girls Club, $5. And I say Biden.
I say Bernie.
Okay. Boys and Girls Club is going to be $5.
Pick this conversation up on Monday, perhaps. Thanks, Matt Flynn. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Thanks, Matt.
More Devil's Advocates. It's Friday. We'll take your phone calls next. 844-967-2789.
Want to be more presidential? Tweet the Devil's Advocates at Devil Radio.
You're Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy.
Nasala Kombucha. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and nasala.com.
Milwaukee is a great city with a great history and great architecture. You can take in Milwaukee's history and architecture while you partake in the delicious Wisconsin craft beer at Regano's Roman Coin. The Roman Coin features weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, pinball, a pool table, a jukebox, and a great selection of craft beers. The Roman Coin is also pet-friendly to appeal to the canine crowd, and you can order it from several nearby restaurants. Regano's Roman Coin, 1004 East Brady Street on Milwaukee's east side.
You are listening to WRRD Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, always streaming at Talk1017FM.com.
From the Capitol in Madison, this is Wiz Politics Midday.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Hoff, and our report for Thursday, February 27th is brought to you by Spectrum. GOP Representative Barbara Dittrich says it's disingenuous for Governor Tony Evers to act like schools have been ignored. This is in response to his vetoing of the GOP tax cut bill. She reminds Evers that Republicans increased state school aid in the biennial budget. This doesn't include the $60 million that Evers put forth in aid to schools in, quote, line item veto acrobatics. The Economawalk Republican used all caps in a statement that the surplus is taxpayer money and should go towards tax relief for individuals and state debt. Meanwhile, Evers ordered today that U.S. and Wisconsin flags fly at half-staff. This is in honor of the victims of yesterday's shooting at the Molson Coors Brewery in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee attack left 6 people dead. That includes the shooter who took his own life. Evers thanked law enforcement for their quick response and said his heart goes out to the families of the victims of, quote, yet another act of gun violence. Also in Milwaukee, the Trump campaign plans to open a Black Voices for Trump community center. The campaign plans to open more than a dozen of these centers in predominantly black areas across the country. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law and senior White House advisor, said that Trump has an affirmative message to share with black voters. Kushner said last time it was, what the hell do you have to lose? He said this election is to show what black voters gained from President Trump and what more they can gain if they get 4 more years. And African American leaders in Madison are urging 2020 census participation. This is to ensure the city receives the funding and political representation that comes from the count that takes place once every 10 years. African Americans have historically been undercounted. In 2010, the census did not account for over 2% of the black population. Vanessa McDowell, CEO of YMCA Madison, said that it is people of color's duty and responsibility to stand up and be counted and be seen and be heard in a nation that is trying to erase black people. For WIS Politics Midday, sponsored by Spectrum, I'm Stephanie Hoff.
This has been WIS Politics Midday. For more state government and political news, visit wispolitics.com.
Join the Democratic Party of Sauk County for our 3rd annual spring fundraiser, emceed by Wisconsin's favorite defender of democracy, the Devil's Advocates' one and only Michael Crute. Join us Sunday, March 1st at the gorgeous Four Seasons on the rolling greens of Baraboo Country Club, where Democrats from all over the county and beyond will gather for stimulating conversation, enjoy an award-winning brunch buffet while being inspired by some of the greatest political minds our state has to offer. $40 at the door. Don't miss out.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Friday. We play country around here.
No, we don't.
Well, we're going to play this song in honor of the fact that Garth Brooks played a concert in Detroit this weekend and wore a Bernie Sanders jersey.
No, he wore a Barry Sanders jersey.
Who's this Barry guy you speak of?
The greatest football player ever.
He couldn't have been. He played on the Detroit Lions.
Despite being on the Detroit Lions, he could have been drafted by the Packers, but they took Tony Mandarich. But I digress.
Man, you're going to bring up Tony Mandarich. Oh, those are fighting words.
Come on, Trumpsters, maggots. It's Barry Sanders, not Bernie Sanders. And, of course, all the Trumpsters just freaked the F out with the jersey.
Huffington Post reporting today, country music icon Garth Brooks is hearing something other than cheers from supporters of President Donald Trump, who completely misunderstood the meaning of a jersey he wore to a concert in Detroit over the weekend. Brooks's Sanders 2020 shirt was meant to honor Detroit Lions great Barry Sanders. But the Trump fans believe the name referred to Senator Bernie Sanders, who is running for the Democratic presidential nomination. I've got a Bernie 2020 shirt, or I will soon, and the number of this year's election. According to the MLive website, he told fans at the concert, I was lucky enough to be an athlete and to wear the same uniform as this guy wore in college. I was lucky to go to school with him. You guys got the greatest player in NFL history, in my opinion, in this jersey. I love this man. You know, Garth Brooks, much like I often do, remembering glory days, Dom. Brooks said the Pro Football Hall of Famer wasn't just the greatest player. He's also one of the greatest human beings that you'll ever get to witness and be with, Brooks said. He's a good cat. It's an honor to wear this jersey tonight. He also posted an image of himself in the jersey on social media, and that's when the Trump supporters flipped out.
Oh, no.
Dominic, many of the comments featured long-running inside jokes from fans of a comedy show. However, more than a few expressed surprise and outright anger at the jersey, leading to rants against Sanders and socialism. Some exhorted the musician to keep out of politics. G is a democratic socialist. Sanders, WTF, Garth. If this is Bernie Sanders, I'm done with you. I thought you were a true American that loves our country.
You're wrong.
Weird that a millionaire would like a socialist. Hey, Garth, are you gonna distribute your millions? Sanders is a foolish, crazy socialist. Good grief. Can't you just do what you get paid to do? Question mark like 4 times. Why does it have to involve politics? So sad. Why don't you pay good money for anything other than to watch you perform?
If that were football standards, NFL standards, he ran for about 2,000 yards in one game.
Garth Brooks, one quick story, and then we'll get to our friend in low places on the phone holding. It's Gary from Sussex. Be patient for a moment, Gary. One time in college, I often wore the baseball cap. Garth Brooks, known for the cowboy hat. And some young lady said to me, and she seemed like something of a country girl, well, you're handsome just like Garth Brooks. Only I took it as an insult. I always thought he looked chubby, man. Now that I look chubby and I got no hair, I would gladly be accused of looking like Garth Brooks.
And the thunder rolls. Crudy, can we now say that some of these Trumpsters are friggin' idiots? I mean, are you kidding me? It's obviously a football jersey. What? And they just jump and the whole socialism argument. People, please. I mean, come on.
Most Trump supporters easily triggered snowflakes. That's what I hear.
I think that's an accurate statement.
844-967-2789. Let's get to the phones. How you doing, Snowflake? Welcome back, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, thank you. Hey, it was nice seeing you guys in the studio, or at least seeing Dom in the studio and you on the little telephone.
Hey, man, who
cool.
let you in the studio?
I got my own key. When you guys shut down at night, I go on the air for a while.
No, is that who's drinking all the beer? I knew something was happening.
Hey, I want to just make a little comment about you guys are talking with Matt. Like, why is Bernie Sanders so popular with everybody? Well, he's got the same attitude as Donald Trump. Screw you attitude. I don't care what you think. And you know what? People like that. They like that attitude.
Do you like that just a little bit, Gary? Do you think Bernie's just the sort of F you kind of guy that you could vote for?
I love it. I wouldn't vote for him, but I love his attitude. And hey, now don't make one of these little PSA announcements with what I just said. Just got to be careful here.
Gary's voting for Bernie Sanders. I just heard him say it. Gary, don't you think there's a significant difference in sincerity between the two candidates? Because what Bernie says, Bernie believes. And what Trump says, Trump doesn't even believe.
No, I disagree with you, but I think that they both believe what they say.
Gary, no, come on, Gary, is Mexico paying for the wall? Gary,
no,
but Trump,
you know what? They are
keep saying that though, Gary. So are you telling me that Trump is lying when he says Mexico's paying for the wall?
Well, I tell you, Mexico has been doing a really good job stopping all the people on the other side of their border from coming across.
That got banned in a federal court today, Gary. You really cannot do that legally. That was shot down by a federal court literally today, Gary. Here's my plan for you, Gary. Medicare for all, and Mexico will pay for it.
Oh, there we go. How about that?
Hey, wait.
Mexico's going to pay for it.
Don't worry about it, Gary. Hey, Mexico's got this.
Elizabeth Warren. You want to know why Elizabeth Warren is diving? Now, the other day, you were so proud of her because she was waving her finger.
Yeah,
at,
Gary, what I really want to know
at
is what conservatives think about the Democratic field. So tell me all about Elizabeth Warren.
Right. I
Well,
mean, you're
listen,
voting for
I'm
Donald
just
Trump,
telling
for Christ's sake,
She
Gary.
Elizabeth Warren is like the high school teacher that I remember when she started yelling and screaming, "Why didn't you turn your homework in? I don't care that your grandma got run over by a reindeer. Why isn't your homework turned in?" That's what it's like when I look at her. It's just yelling.
Well, Gary, that's because your grandma didn't really get run over by a reindeer. You were lying the whole time, and she saw right through it. And she called BS.
That's right. But that's what she's like. That's how
she calls out your BS. That's why you don't like it. You like the guy that lies to you. You don't like the woman that tells you the truth.
The storyteller. She's known as the storyteller. Come on, you know that. She doesn't tell.
Well,
the truth.
Gary, I've been known to be a storyteller now and again, man.
Let's hang up. Gary, one last quick one I got to ask you while you're here. Are you satisfied with Trump's response, at least the words coming out of his mouth, regarding this coronavirus? Or do you think, like Mulvaney and some others, that this is what essentially a hoax perpetuated by the Dems who want to bring this
Turn
man
off the
down?
TV, Gary. Turn off the TV. And don't look at your 401k.
You know what? I pulled out last week. I was 35% into the stock market. I dropped it down to 15%. So I'm not losing as much as everybody else is. And then,
You're talking about your portfolio. I thought you were talking about something you and Mrs. Gary
you
do.
haven't answered the question. Are you satisfied? Do you think Trump is in control of this problem?
Yes, I do. I think he is, and I feel confident. And I think we're going to have this thing under control. And within 6 months, we should have a vaccine for this thing, I hope.
6 days, 6 weeks, I doubt more than 6 months. Gary, I appreciate your friendship, man, but you're deluded if you think large and in charge Trump has got a handle on coronavirus. I mean, this conspiracy theory, it's all going to be better when the sun comes out and it gets a little warmer. That's going to get the American people in big trouble, Gary. Misinformation from the top. I mean, the CDC is contradicting the man in his own presence, Gary. Did you notice that? Did you notice the president lying to the American people? Oh, it's like one patient. Don't even worry about it. It's probably 0 patients. I never even heard of coronavirus. And you could get the flu and die, so what are you worried about?
Yeah, there's 60,000 people died from the flu. Can you believe that? 60,000. I love it when the president
I
gets
never read a
educated.
book. No one ever told me that. 844. Love you, Gary. 844-967-2789. He does get me fired up sometimes. Mark from the Sack, welcome back.
Hey, Mark.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
That's your bottom dollar.
Tomorrow. It good God. I mean, even somebody paying attention peripherally should have heard that the coronavirus apparently kills 2 people out of every 100. Is one of the figures that I heard. I mean, that's a pretty scary figure right there. I mean, and to trust Donald Trump with it, I wouldn't trust Donald Trump to flush a toilet. I mean, because he's probably afraid to touch the handle anyway.
10, 15 times.
Damn germ before him.
I don't think he's capable of properly operating a toilet. I'm not sure what he does wrong, but if he's flushing 10 or 15 times, that's user error.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he needs to ease up on the Big Macs and maybe have some, vegetables in his life.
Actually, it just is truly scary. I mean, that Gary is ready to turn. They claim they whine about socialism. Yeah, what was the biggest socialist program we had during the Obama administration, other than bailing out the banks to how many trillions of dollars did the U.S. government pump into the economy to save the big banks? Wasn't that socialism?
Sure. And what about what we're doing right now with supporting the farmers because of Trump's tariffs? The trade war.
That was way bigger. The socialism for farmers, $28 billion and counting. I mean, the auto bailout was way smaller than that. It was like 12 to 18 billion, and it was paid back with interest. And remember how Obama got crucified, Mark, and Trump gets glorified? I don't know what to say. He gets worshipped in a cult-like fashion.
It just is truly scary that we have guys that have no training in biology or virology or immunology that are controlling the information that comes out. I mean, what we should be hearing, granted, most American citizens are pretty ignorant when it comes to science. Thank you very much. trying to kill science. But I mean that we need to hear from people that actually know what they're talking about. They know what they're going to be telling us about how we can actually prevent disease spread. I mean, the washing of hands and using hand sanitizer, that's all well and good. But I mean that if this thing hits, and it could very well. I mean, look at what the Spanish flu did back in 1918. I mean that it killed thousands of people. And before it burned itself out, is that what Trump is hoping? It burns itself out?
I think he is, Mark. He's expecting a miracle, and of course, and you see him on the interviews, and he's moving his hands, and sometimes it gets better before it gets worse, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But the good news is we have a new person in charge of communications, right, Crudy? Who's leading up
Stephen
communications?
Miller's new wife. The Nazi guy that works and writes most of Trump's speeches?
Yeah.
The balding Nazi, Stephen Miller.
The guy that went on news one time with the
great-looking hair.
GLH means
spray on hair.
What?
I've been on the news a couple times, Tom. I don't wear the great-looking hair. Well, that's pretty obvious, but, it looks so asinine. But here, a quick quote from the New York Times. Mick Mulvaney, the, acting chief of staff to the president at CPAC today, Mr. Mulvaney claimed that the news media was too preoccupied covering impeachment, he said, because they thought it would bring down the president. What's that?
We have some sound of this. We have some Mulvaney sound? Okay, finish the quote. We'll play it when we get back. All right. Go ahead, Kurt.
Well, now I feel all aflustered.
Oh, come on.
That's okay. I was going to read more Mulvaney quote.
We have some Mulvaney. I think this is a very good point. We're playing, the Republicans, Mulvaney, this administration, purely playing politics with this. And at the same time, as they normally do, they blame others for playing politics with this. It's almost like they're woke, but they're not woke. Did you get your new woke gear yet from the Trump campaign, Crudy?
Oh, woke gear?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Got my woke gear because I know history. And if you don't know history, you're
woke.
Not woke. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We got all kinds of friends in low places, guys like Gary, people like you at 844-967-2789. It's Friday. We air our grievances, and we allow you to air yours as well. Dial them up. We'll be right back.
Oh, I have so many names.
You're wrong.
Personal file, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
If I were to guess, I have one name in mind.
You're wrong.
RELAX.
More power, more fight, the most heart. Gingras, Thompson & Walks is more than a law firm. We're family. We believe in doing our best to help people in need and right the wrong that's occurred. For more than 35 years, we've helped thousands of clients across the state of Wisconsin get the justice they deserve. Our proven track record of success isn't based solely on our knowledge of the judicial system. Rather, we make it our priority to get to know our clients and their cases so we can best represent them. Gingras, Thompson & Walks. Find us online at gtwlawyers.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and my family owns Madison Liquidators. Have you ever shopped for office furniture and been completely blown away by the prices? So have I. In Madison, your choices end up being big box stores with inexpensive pieces that fall apart when you look at them the wrong way, or high-end interior design quality furniture that costs as much as a car. That is why my family and I set out to start an office furniture store with a different philosophy and three main goals. Get our clients the quality office furniture they need at the prices they can afford, divert sound office furniture from the landfill, and develop relationships with small businesses within our community and help them grow. At Madison Liquidators, you will not be quoted our most expensive pieces up front and scaled back from there. We will work with you within your budget to allocate funds where it counts. We're interested in getting you the most bang for your buck every time. If you see something you like but it's outside your budget, let us know. We always have ideas to help make it work for you. Call me today and let's get started, or visit our website at madisonliquidators.com.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Milwaukee, tune in from 11 to 2 on Talk 101.7 FM for the Tom Hartman program. Join the show's conversation because our democracy is not a spectator sport. Listen live Monday through Friday right here on Talk 101.7 FM, Wisconsin's political talk network.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter, and of course on the phones. Toll free 844-967-2789. Let's get back to him. Al from Sherman Park, you're up. Thanks for calling today, Al. What do you got for us?
Hey, the coronavirus, I'm not going to freak out about it because I think it's going to end up being like Ebola and Zika and West Nile. And in the early weeks of the epidemic, the president did go ahead and ban incoming foreign travel from Asia, as well as they set up army bases to quarantine Americans who were coming back like on cruise ships and from regions affected. So I think we've started, some mediation procedures to try to prevent that from spreading largely here in America.
Al, why are we seeing the number of contractions explode overnight each and every day around the world? I mean, I get your historical examples. I think Mulvaney today said, this isn't SARS, this isn't MERS. You know, the flu kills people. Stop being so fatalistic. Well, you know, I'm just one guy here in America, in Wisconsin, watching the news, and I got to tell you, it is troubling because I don't quite feel like this presidency or this administration has any credibility. I mean, they sent out people to deal with quarantines, these coronavirus, potential coronavirus patients, with no training and no MAP suits.
No
protection. Gear. Al, that's a recipe for disaster. That's not, we've got this contained. Why would I believe Kudlow when he says that?
Well, you don't have to believe him, but I'm going to just tell you from my experience, and I'm on.
Are you an epidemiologist, Al? I mean, your experience is what? A guy that listens to the radio? I mean, what qualifies you above and beyond the rest of us to have an opinion, sir?
I work in healthcare. I'm on my way to my healthcare job. Of the hundreds of people that I've spoken to since this outbreak has broken out, anytime you have fever, cough, sneezing, I'm required to ask you, have you been in contact with anyone who's returned from China in the last 14 days? And of the hundreds of people I've spoken to in the last 3-4 weeks, I've only had one who vaguely thought they had encountered someone from Asia that they had been in contact with before they came down with their symptoms. So anecdotally, I'm not too worried about it. I have more cases of the flu going on and children getting hospitalized with RSV, respiratory syndrome coming from viral infections.
Al, why do you think the Dow Jones is plummeting? Why do you think the markets are so roiled if healthcare providers, people in the profession like yourself, if you feel so confident that this is not a bigger thing than, let's say, the flu, why do you think the markets have responded dropping about 1,000 points a day all week?
So here I also give you some life experience. In 1987, in the fall of 87, we had Black Monday. By April of 88, I was hired at Strong Funds, who was doing a vast amount of hiring for their tax season. The market had corrected itself. What we're looking at is fear. There are a lot of institutions who are now moving their money out of stocks and into more stable investments.
Yeah, but why though, Al? Why is that? I mean, do you think
they're afraid that supply chains will be interrupted? They're afraid that with people staying home, they're not out buying and shopping, and that's going to affect.
But don't you think that's
numbers?
Real? Supply chains are already being affected. I mean, this is happening now.
Japan has closed the schools. They're talking about canceling the Summer Olympics, Al. That's a big leap. I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar event. You don't cancel that lightly.
And I, as an isolationist, think this is a good lesson so that people will learn in the future, and they probably won't learn, not to so deeply intertwine their markets with other foreign nations, especially China.
Al, you ever use Amazon?
Rarely.
But you've used Amazon? You've ordered goods off of Amazon?
I ordered goods maybe about 3 times in the last 2 or 3 years, yes.
I'm going to put you down for some Chinese goods via Amazon, Al. We don't know, Al. They could come right off the boxes of the Chinese goods. And I'm not trying to spook anyone, but we don't have straight answers. And I'd love to think your optimistic assessments predicated on your career in the healthcare and financial service industries, give credence to what it is that you're asserting. But I don't trust the Trump administration. And I'm not here cheering for the bad. I'm cheering against it, man. It scares the you-know-what out of me. I don't want there to be something bad. But guys like Mick Mulvaney and the fact that Trump put guys like Kudlow and Steve Mnuchin on the coronavirus response team, those are not epidemiologists either, Al. Those are Fox Business News guys. Those are supposed economic guys. Those are guys to help him deal with the crisis, which is the plunging stock market, because the markets are afraid that your optimistic assessment and Trump's is completely wrong.
Brian, before the top of the hour, let's get some Mulvaney in here. Let's start with cut number 40, the media hoax of the day.
The press was covering their hoax of the day because they thought it would bring down the president. The reason you're saying so much attention to it today is that they think this is going to be what brings down the president. That's what this is all about. Really, what I might do today, calm the markets, is tell people to turn their televisions off for 24 hours.
Let's keep going, Mulvaney, cut 41.
But it's not a death sentence. It's not the same as the Ebola crisis. Right. Now, it's much easier to get than Ebola. That's the one thing that concerns us about it, is how easy it is transferred. You could see that with what happened on the cruise ship in Japan. But this is something we deal with.
Deal with it. Mulvaney, cut 42, the fatality rate.
It looks like this disease is someplace between 1% and 2% fatal. Is that serious? It absolutely is. There's no question about it.
And 43.
It looks. Are you going to see some schools shut down? Probably. May you see impacts on public transportation? Sure, but we do this. We know how to handle this.
Yeah, so people just get over it. The administration's got it all taken care of.
Here's where it's all going to blow up in the administration's face. We've got a piss-poor healthcare delivery system. There's 27 million uninsured people. There's lots of people that can't afford to skip work tomorrow, even if they had coronavirus. And they're going to be serving your food, Mick Mulvaney. And that little deal, probably not a big deal, it can become a big infectious deal really, really quick, because we really don't know just how infectious it is, and we don't know how quickly it's transmitted. And folks, I don't know when the end of this segment's coming, so I'm going to bail right now. More Devil's Advocates, Hour 2 coming next on the other side.
Are you going to see some schools shut down? Probably.
Will there be a lawsuit? Yeah, probably.
Get over it.
Dom, the Devil's Advocates are going on an adventure.
Join Crute and I for our inaugural 420 celebration from our friends at Expedia Cruise Ship Centers of Madison. Our political party runs for 7 nights over the 420 holiday in sunny and cannabis-legal California. The Hilton La Jolla Torrey Pines is near the beach, boasting a world-class golf course, and is just a few minutes drive from downtown San Diego.
Expedia prices, local service. Visit them on Madison's west side off Mineral Point Road, or Google Expedia Cruise Ship Centers Madison.
You concerned about speaking up at work?
Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
You are listening to WRRD Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, always streaming at talk1017fm.com.
Special report stock slide on spreading virus.
We have now increased our assessment of the risk of spread and the risk of impact of COVID-19 to very high.
While the World Health Organization was increasing its level of concern about the coronavirus, the head of the Federal Reserve was trying to ease any panic in the marketplace. Correspondent Allison Cossack is on Wall Street.
The Federal Reserve Chairman, Jay Powell, releasing a statement saying the fundamentals of the U.S. economy are strong, that the coronavirus is a risk to the economic activity of the U.S., and that the Federal Reserve is monitoring developments and how they impact the economy, and that they'll use tools as necessary to support the economy. But interestingly enough, the only reaction I saw from stocks after that was that they went lower at that point.
Stocks did manage a late rally, and the Dow, once down more than 1,000, closed down 357. In all, investors lost $3.4 trillion of market value this week. I'm Mike Moss. Acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney introduced a new theory on the virus today, saying it has been weaponized to hurt President Trump. But Mulvaney says the virus will cause disruptions.
Are you going to see some schools shut down? Probably. May you see impacts on public transportation? Sure, but we do this. We know how to handle this.
Vice President Mike Pence.
I'm happy to tell you that in every case, people are being treated and by all accounts are doing well. We have one American who's still in the hospital and being treated.
The woman in the hospital is in serious condition. The source of her infection remains unknown. The U.S. says there were 62 cases confirmed in the country, 2 more today when more passengers from the Diamond Princess cruise ship tested positive. And Lebanon today became the latest nation to announce that it will close its schools to slow the transmission of the coronavirus. I'm Mike Moss.
Sell your Madison area home for top dollar with ease. Hi, I'm Amy Hopfinger with Homestead Realty, and I have a program that saves you time and money. Sell your home without the hassle. No signs, no open houses, no keeping your home showing ready, no leaving for showings. Quick, easy, convenient. Visit me at buyerformyhouse.com. That's buyerformyhouse.com.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Political Talk on Talk 1017 FM. Weekdays, you can hear Democracy Now! From 7 to 8 a.m. Then it's the Earl Ingram Show from 8 to 11. From 11 till 2, the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's Matt Flynn Direct. From 3 to 6, the Devil's Advocates. And at 6, it's Busted Pencils, Brandy Grayson, and Maggie Dawn. Online at talk1017fm.com. Wisconsin's Political Talk, because politics matters.
A federal appeals court has dealt a setback to the president's Remain in Mexico policy. Correspondent Linda Kenyon has details from the White House.
The Remain in Mexico policy requires asylum seekers to stay in Mexico while they wait for their immigration hearings. It's a process that could take months or even years. The shelters on the Mexican side of the southern border have been overrun by the migrants who are often left to fend for themselves, making them vulnerable to violent gangs and drug cartels. The Trump administration is expected to seek further review of the policy and could take the matter all the way to the Supreme Court.
In another case, a U.S. appeals court has dismissed a Democratic-led congressional panel's lawsuit seeking to enforce a subpoena for testimony from former White House counsel Don McGahn. French authorities are recommending that people refrain from shaking hands to prevent infection from the coronavirus. The health minister says French citizens need to help in the stop of spreading the virus. I'm Mike Moss.
When it comes to politics, Wisconsin's Political Talk Network takes you there, live, to the debate stage, to the convention floor, to the rallies, to the marches, to the halls of Congress. Hear history as it happens, live on the radio. mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Political Talk Network, because politics matters.
Milwaukee, tune in from 11 to 2 on Talk 101.7 FM for the Thom Hartmann Program. Join the show's conversation because our democracy is not a spectator sport. Listen live Monday through Friday right here on Talk 101.7 FM, Wisconsin's Political Talk Network.
Hey guys, I'm Maggie Dawn, your lady lawyer, legal eagle, and sensei of economics. Tune into my show, Dawn of the Resistance, live Thursdays and Fridays from 6 to 7 on WRRD 1510 AM. Always streaming live at newstalk1510am.com.
For 101.7 Milwaukee and 92.7 Madison, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A former Stevens Point police officer wants to win back a state Senate seat for Democrats that has historically been filled by that party. Paul Petrowski will challenge Republican incumbent Patrick Testin. The 24th Senate seat was held by Democrats for over 40 years until Testin was elected in 2016. Petrowski was a Stevens Point police officer for over 25 years, has a bachelor's degree in political science, and graduated in the top 10% of his class at the United States Navy's Officer Candidate School. The 24th Senate District is in the central area of the state. Forecast for Milwaukee and Madison, mostly clear tonight, lows around 12 degrees in Milwaukee, 7 in Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine with highs in the mid-30s. You are tuned in to Wisconsin's Political Talk Network.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday edition. Dominic, always your favorite.
You know it.
And, buddy, we love hearing from the audience at 844-967-2789. And I'm going to encourage new callers, first-time callers. No offense to many of our good friends that like to call us, but I hear some of you cheating on us with other political talk radio products on this very same station. We love that you support all our fine hosts, but some of you call in every show, and we love you for it. But, if we can get some new callers, we'll take some new. You go to the top of the list if you are a never called the show before caller, a Friday special, if you will. 844-967-2789. But be patient, because we're not taking any callers quite yet, Dom. Newly reported on CNN at this hour, the White House, the administration has lots of tools at their disposal, Dom, and they're ready to battle coronavirus reportedly with tax cuts.
Yeah, that will cure us all.
Tax cuts. Because, of course, it's not about actually saving any human lives. It's about saving material wealth and stopping the plunging stock market. Dom, over $3.4 trillion in material wealth lost this week while Donald Trump was the president. Still your stock market, sir. So they're not worried about people dying. They're worried about the stock market and the appearances for the very wealthy. Dominic, you found this piece. We're going to start it and then get to the phones. Jennifer Rubin, Washington Post. I like her when she's not picking the Dem presidential field. Here's what she says. The headline, it's the incompetence that may bring Trump down. I agree. Let me see what she writes today. President Trump's political safety net has always been the economy and the stock market. He brags about the latter, one can imagine, partly to impress his rich pals and to remind Republicans they never had it so good. And for many people, it works. At a Pete Buttigieg rally last Sunday, a volunteer from Pennsylvania told me her parents were pro-Trump. So long as their 401k is good, she said, they'll ignore the rest. The rich, who are the stock owners benefiting from the market, have seen their portfolios balloon and their tax bills plummet. Forbes reports the richest 1% received 9.3% of the total tax cuts. The top 5% got 26.5%, and the top quintile received 52.2%, and the bottom quintile received 3.3%. What a tax cut. Thank God they got more at the ready to help stem the coronavirus.
Right.
I read on from Jennifer Rubin at the Post. For a president obsessed with winning and outshining his predecessor, the stock market is a handy scoreboard until it isn't. The Dow Jones closed on Thursday down more than 1,100 points, 4.4%. This was after, perhaps in part because of, Trump's frightfully incoherent press conference Wednesday, the New York Times reports. The speed of the market slump has been stunning, with the S&P 500 falling more than 10% from its February 19 high, a drop that Wall Street labels a correction to suggest the decline is more significant than a few days of downbeat trading. The last time stocks in the United States fell that much was in late 2018, when investors worried that the trade war and rising interest rates might tip the U.S. economy into a recession. The Dow Jones Industrial Average also fell into a correction on Thursday, as did shares in London. Dom, Trump's forte has never been actually solving a problem or providing quality. He excels at spin, exaggeration, and shameless lying. Naturally, then, his response to a burgeoning health crisis and an economic earthquake is to muzzle those who might undercut his happy talk. Dom, the Times reports the White House moved on Thursday to tighten control over coronavirus messaging by government health officials and scientists, directing them to coordinate all statements and public appearances with the office of Vice President Mike Pence, according to several officials familiar with the new approach. Again, that's Stephen Miller, the Nazi on the White House staff. That's his new wife. All in the family, Dom. Here's the statement. The White House insists the goal is not to control the content of what subject matter experts and other officials are saying, but to make sure their efforts are being coordinated. After days of confusion with various administration officials showing up on television, nevertheless, writes Rubin, you do get alarmed when Dr. Anthony Fauci, one of the country's leading experts on viruses and the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, told associates that the White House had instructed him not to say anything without clearance.
What? Crudy Jennifer Rubin goes on to write, Trump has become so adept at bullying science-based government agencies and departments, ergo the EPA strips its website of climate change information. And how could we forget, Crudy, Trump's Sharpie markup at the National Weather Service? He's so adept at the bullying that the media and public do not know whom to believe. We used to be able to rely on the world-class Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for the most accurate information. With Pence in charge of the effort, do we have the same sense of confidence? No! On the Senate floor, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer practically pleaded with Trump, quote, the president must stop trying to minimize the nature of the coronavirus threat. His attempts at spinning the facts are just not credible, and they are harmful to the federal response. He continued, in order to prevent overreaction by the public, it is essential that the federal officials, especially the president and vice president, level with the American people. Telling the American people the truth and then coming up with solutions to solve it is the way to calm people down. So let's let the science and the facts guide us. The American people do not need or want uninformed opinions or spin from its leaders. They want the truth. And Rubin concludes, when the administration demonstrates an effective approach to the health crisis and can be regarded as trustworthy, the markets should calm down. The bad news is that it may be beyond the capacity of this president.
844-967-2789, going back to the phones, and some familiar names. Not that we resent you for listening all the time, Tony.
No, of course not.
Just looking for some new friends.
Oh, hey, Tony.
Whoa, Tony, welcome back, man.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. What do you got?
Better
going?
than your grandkids.
Wow.
I'm putting in all this time calling up, and you're taking new people first.
Come on, you're one cheap.
I still took you, Tony.
Hey, if I had a broom, I'd call shenanigans right now, man. That's what I would do. No, the first thing I want to say is the Republicans, which I'm going to start calling them because, they can't say Democratic Party. I'm going to get childish, too. The problem with those guys they're liars. That's all they do is lie. And when are the Garys of the world going to realize that when you're lying about a virus that could hurt all kinds of people, that's not good. I mean, how is that? How do you? I just don't understand how you twist yourself into a pretzel and support lies.
Well, because he's authentic, that Trump. He tells it like it is.
And he's
the way you hope it is.
Tony, and he's sticking it to the libtards, man. And, so that's okay with them.
Trump's going to solve the coronavirus problem through sheer force of will.
And tweets.
Because he wants it to be that way.
But that's what bugs me is the childishness of it. We're adults. I mean, I'm 50, and Gary's older than I am, and yet he wants to say Democrat Party. That's his big thing. Own the libs. That's the big thing. Meanwhile, people are dying, and it's not just because of coronavirus. It's because of cancer. It's because of we don't have Medicare for all. These are all of the things that eventually, Gary, fascism comes for you. Understand it. Read a book. Have a nice day.
All right, Tony from Portland. Appreciate it, man. 844-967-2789.
I have troubling news for Gary from Portland. Oh, pardon me, Tony from Portland, Gary from Sussex, and perhaps even myself, is I am going to celebrate a birthday, not real soon, but soon. The new study from the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention finds coronavirus patients older than the age of 80 are in the greatest danger. That seems logical. But the fatality rate, they've been downplaying the fatality rate.
1 to 2%, we heard Mulvaney say today, 1 to 2%.
If you're above 80, the fatality rate is nearly 15%. I mean, coronavirus could decimate the Democratic presidential field, I'm just saying.
Oh, jeez.
Dominic, I'm going to read here just a few of the numbers. As the deadly novel coronavirus continues to spread across the globe, Chinese health officials are revealing new details about the disease's fatality rate. A recent study from the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, analyzing 72,314 coronavirus cases in mainland China, found that while about 80% of the cases are mild, the virus poses the greatest threat to the elderly people with pre-existing health conditions. Unfortunately, they always seemingly suffer. The research shows that patients older than the age of 80 had a 14.9% chance of dying after being infected, while those in their 70s were found to have an 8% chance. Patients in their 50s, and this is me and Tony, were about 3 times more likely to die than patients in their 40s. I mean, what? I got to get it. If I'm going to get it, I got to get it before June. The rate for people in their 40s, 1.3%. And patients aged 10 to 19 were as likely to die as patients in their 30s at just 0.2%. I mean, really, this affects those 50 and over. And that's a big part of our audience. And that means you, Gary, and you, Tony, and you in like 2 years, Dom. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. It's Friday. We are grievances. We're all going to die of coronavirus.
No, we're not.
Yeah, you and Al keep telling yourselves that. 844-967-2789. Don't let them start a panic.
I'm wearing a bathrobe, and I'm not even sick.
I'm proud to tell you that was actually my sick idea.
Beating Donald Trump is my life's mission. Winning Wisconsin is the key. We built a progressive Wisconsin talk radio network to do just that. Now I need your help. I need money to complete the mission. Beat Donald Trump. Support progressive radio. Give now at GoFundMe Resistance Radio Wisconsin, or find the Support the Station link on any of our websites. I can't do it alone. Thank you for your help.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Gingras, Thompson, and Wachs, the attorneys with more power, more fight, and the most heart, are here to serve you, Milwaukee. From personal injury to civil rights cases, we are determined to combat dishonesty and injustice. And our team brings the fight with integrity, passion, and dedication that never quits. Together, we right the wrong, and we are ready for battle. There are law firms, and then there is Gingras, Thompson, and Wachs. Find us online at gtwlawyers.com.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and, of course, on Twitter. Phone lines are kind of jammed up right now, but we'll get you in at 844-96-PARTY.
Dominic, I have a brief grievance to air. The Merrill Police Department have put out some troubling warnings. Here it is. I'll read it for the people, and then I'll allow them to respond. Warning! If you have recently purchased meth, it may be contaminated with coronavirus. If you're not comfortable going into an office setting, please request, meaning they're willing to test it for you, or so they claim on the social medias, the Merrill Police Department. And then they also say this, very thoughtful. If you're not comfortable going into an office setting, please request any officer and they'll test your meth in the privacy of your home. Please spread the word. We are here for you. Dominic, it's one of several police departments nationwide to push out the hoax, apparently in pursuit of laughs and possibly even the rare arrest. It generated mixed reactions, some seeing it as funny, others as deplorable, fueling coronavirus fears through fake PSAs on official channels. One more quote, and then we'll get to the phones. I would rather not see police departments making jokes like this online or posting false information about a pandemic that's already being treated cavalierly by the executive branch, one woman said in a comment on the Merrill Police Department post. Shut up, snowflake, someone replied.
You
Probably
two suck
Dom.
at peddling meth.
Terrible. I do not approve of that. Way to go.
Watch out for the brown
Police
meth.
Department, Merrill Police Department, making the national news. Great. That was on
Watch
the
out for the
Washington
brown.
Post.
Sorry to keep trying to step
Yeah,
on you,
man,
man.
come
Watch
on,
out for the
man.
brown. Okay, this thing, it goes back or forth. Watch out for the brown meth, Dom. The coronavirus. It's in the brown meth.
844-967-2789. New callers, welcome. Rich from Tempe, Arizona. You are up. Thanks for calling, Rich. What do you got today?
Hey, Rich.
Well, today is Grievance Friday, so my grievance is, why are you broadcasting in bad winter weather in Wisconsin when you can be a snowbird and broadcast here in Phoenix? And while you're here in town, restart Progressive Talk Radio, because a couple of Julys ago we lost Progressive Talk Radio. And as a result, Maricopa County is now dumber and more uninformed.
And that was dumber than even when Joe Arpaio was the sheriff there.
Yeah.
Well, Rich,
well, you know,
Rich, you got to.
So you guys can be snowbirds and come on out here.
All right, you got a pool, Rich?
I'm stuck in a little
Pond.
apartment complex.
Well, Rich, I would say this. There is a presidential debate coming to the greater Phoenix area March 15th, and we will broadcast that big debate live right here on the Wisconsin Political Talk Network. But it's a Sunday night affair, Rich, and the airline tickets to Phoenix right now, they're exorbitant, man.
Yeah,
a lot of snowbirds heading your way.
Right.
Trying to get a one-up on the coronavirus, apparently, Rich. But if you know a guy with like $1 million in Phoenix, you call me and we'll buy a radio station together.
Well, how about Michael Bloomberg? I mean, he'll pay for it.
He could build a progressive radio network all across this nation. I'm trying to do it on the scale I can afford to do it here in Wisconsin, Rich. I mean, it is a crime. Phoenix had a thriving progressive community, and it was really, you know what put that radio station out of business? Real estate. The fact that they could not turn their dish when we bought the station in Wisconsin, like 3-4 months later, had to buy a brand new parabolic dish, this big honking dish that we get our satellite play off. And they could not turn their dish towards the new satellite. They literally were blocked off by a wall, and that is why Phoenix had to change their formatting. I mean, what a crime.
Well,
we couldn't get a higher flagpole for the dish, man? Come on, we could have chipped in for that.
Well, originally it was on powerful 1010 AM, and then it switched to a weaker 1480, and then it went off the air, and there's nothing here.
Well, Rich, I tell you what, man, you got to keep streaming us out of Wisconsin. We're going to stay on the air as long as God and my checkbook is willing. 844-967-2789. Another unfamiliar face. Brandon from Madison, welcome, sir.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, sir.
I'm great because you have an FM radio signal to listen to at 92.7 FM, Brandon.
I started watching listening to your show a couple months ago. You guys give me hope, I'll tell you that. I'm glad I ran into your program.
Thanks, man.
So I'm Brandon. I'm actually a medical student here in Madison, Wisconsin. So I love listening to your guys' radio show about this coronavirus, man. Yeah, it's got a lot of media attention, and one thing I want to let you guys know is, the flu, man. The flu is a lot worse than this coronavirus, and we're freaking out about this coronavirus. And I just wanted to let you and you guys and your viewers know that the best things to do is wash hands. That's the number one thing to do is wash hands, avoid people that are sick, and it's getting hard now that it's spreading. But it's still keep up with that flu vaccination. We don't want to forget about that. That's killing a lot more people and children in the United States than this coronavirus.
Brandon, I'm pushing 50 years old. I am not one that often, in fact, I cannot remember ever getting a flu vaccine. No, I'm speaking personally. What's your impression, sir? Is the vaccine effective for preventing of the flu? I understand it's always kind of a hit and miss.
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the flu this year, it's looking like the flu vaccine's doing a lot better. I know a couple years ago, it wasn't as effective. And, that goes down to the flu virus itself. So every year, the flu virus mutates. And scientists, from around the world, they gather at this huge meeting every year, and they try to figure out, okay, what kind of flu virus are we going to get this year? And so when they make these flu vaccines, they're making their best educated guesses on what kind of flu is going to come out and affect people.
Brandon, got to cut you a little short. We got a break coming up, man. Hopefully you'll keep listening, and we won't, die of coronavirus or the flu. We'll keep washing our hands, and you keep listening. More Devils on the other side.
Want to see the super sexiest political show on earth? Check out the Devil's Advocates on YouTube.
We have a pond in the back. We have a pool and a pond.
This is Ben Wickler, chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. This year, more tax revenue came into the state's bank account than was expected, which means that there's some funding that we can put to work for Wisconsinites. And Governor Evers, true to his campaign promises, proposed a balanced plan, $250 million to fund our public schools and $130 million in tax relief for Wisconsin taxpayers. But Republicans, who have claimed to support both goals, rejected Governor Evers' proposal flat out. They said there was no way to both fund our schools and give Wisconsinites a tax break, so they proposed their own plan that fell far short of what Governor Evers had proposed. This is another case of Republicans refusing to do what's best for their constituents in order to score cheap political points, and the legislature is about to end its session for the year. They're a full-time legislature, but they're refusing to do their jobs. Governor Evers is rejecting the Republican plan that involved no compromise, no middle ground, no balance. It is time for Republicans to come back to the negotiating table and do what's right for Wisconsin.
You are listening to WRRD Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, always streaming at talk1017fm.com.
Dom, the Devil's Advocates are going on an adventure.
Join Crute and I for our inaugural 420-2020 celebration from our friends at Expedia Cruise Ship Centers of Madison. Our political party runs for 7 nights over the 420 holiday in sunny and cannabis-legal California. The Hilton La Jolla Torrey Pines is near the beach, boasting a world-class golf course, and is just a few minutes' drive from downtown San Diego.
Expedia prices, local service. Visit them on Madison's west side off Mineral Point Road or Google Expedia Cruise Ship Centers Madison.
Whether you are remodeling your current space or constructing a new home, Habo Granite & Stone is here for all of your countertop needs. Habo Granite & Stone is family-owned and offers a large selection of natural stone
and other sites. CNBC.
Implement every room in your home. From granite to marble and so much more.
At 9:30, 12:30.
Craftsmen work to customize the perfect countertops to suit your needs. Find us at HAYBO,
So, Dave, I hear you and your team at Community PC can really help a guy like me when I'm having a hard time keeping my computer up to date.
Oh, yeah, Crudy. Community PC provides great service from trusted local technicians to give our clients peace of mind when it comes to their computers.
Will I wait on hold all day?
Our team can provide you with immediate trusted remote service. We also offer timely on-site service in Dane and Rock counties. Find us at commpc.com to learn more. Community PC. We know what makes computers happy.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Political Talk on Talk 1017 FM. Weekdays, you can hear Democracy Now! From 7 to 8 a.m. Then it's the Earl Ingram Show from 8 to 11. From 11 till 2, the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's Matt Flynn Direct. From 3 to 6, the Devil's Advocates. And at 6, it's Busted Pencils, Brandy Grayson, and Maggie Dawn. Online at talk1017fm.com. Wisconsin's Political Talk, because politics matters. For 1017 Milwaukee and 92.7 Madison, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee Police Union has filed an ethics complaint against the chairman of the Fire and Police Commission. Stephen DeVogus did not list his ties to a real estate developers company on documents detailing his financial interests, according to the complaint filed by the union. The complaint also says other potential violations should be investigated as well, including why DeVogus would be present at a police interview with real estate developer Kalen Haywood Sr., since DeVogus chairs the commission that oversees the police department. And the Bucks were off last night. They welcomed the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Forum tonight for a game that will be on national TV. And the forecast for Milwaukee and Madison, mostly clear tonight, lows around 12 in Milwaukee, 7 in Madison, sunshine tomorrow, highs in the mid-30s. You are tuned in to Wisconsin's Political Talk Network.
The big and tall of political talk. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Friday high day. We always have a good time airing our grievances here. Dom, wanted to make at least one acknowledgement. People know I've got a GoFundMe site set up, and they asked me, how long is that going to be for? And I said, until the sun comes out and gets rid of all the coronavirus. I would like to think just for the month of March. Typically, and here's some good news. I know not everyone can hear the fine FM signal in Madison. 92.7 FM, or the fine new FM signal in Milwaukee, 101.7 FM. We've always been limited by the sunset. And this time of year has always been good news for us because the days get longer, and each and every month as we turn the calendar, the days get longer for the broadcast day. So those that listen to the fine AM signals, great news. Come March 1st, that's Sunday, they don't turn off till 6 p.m. And then one short week later with daylight savings, they don't turn off until 7 p.m.
Nice.
So effectively, the network will effectively be at full power by March 8th of this year. And that's very good news for our friends, let's say, in Sauk County, where I'm going to speak at their fine fundraiser on Sunday morning, March 1st, ironically, 10 to 1 p.m., 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Baraboo Country Club. It's a fundraiser. Bring your $40 and perhaps a few bucks more. And we're also trying to raise a few bucks. And I got to acknowledge a guy from the west side of Madison, Tom B., man. Wow. Tom sent me a check today, and I was very proud, Dom, to put that check in the bank because we're going to use it towards payroll. And Tom sent a check, and I would say more than $1,000, and featuring $420, $1,420, and he made it very clear, the $420, somehow he wanted extra emphasis on that. And I got to tell you, Dom, that was damn generous, man, and we have gotten lots of generous donations, but that was perhaps one of the most generous donations, and we are going to put them all to operational cost. And if you can help us out, we'd greatly appreciate it. It's not going to be a forever thing, but until we get some of our spring sponsors back on, and until we get some sweet, sweet billionaire presidential money, we could use a little bit of help. But this will not be a permanent condition. We do appreciate the fact these stations have become listener-supported radio. And I appreciate it. And thank you very much. And if you want to give a few bucks, or like Tom, give a lot of bucks, I really appreciate that. You can find us at GoFundMe, Real Resistance, let me try that again. GoFundMe Resistance Radio Wisconsin. GoFundMe Resistance Radio Wisconsin. I appreciate anything from $2.70 on up, man. It all spends, and it will all be spent towards making the most relevant radio we possibly can. One other quick show note for those that didn't tune in early today. Super Monday, coming up Monday, March 2nd. We're going to have all the presidential candidates, special interviews, CNN Westwood 1, beginning at 7 p.m. Central Time with Bernie Sanders, 7:30 Joe Biden, 8 p.m. Pete Buttigieg, 8:30 Amy Klobuchar, 9 p.m. Elizabeth Warren. Apparently the billionaires need to bring their checkbooks. They weren't invited to the town hall, but you're all invited to go to Super Tuesday with Dom and I. We're going on the road again, Dom. Tuesday, we'll be in Minneapolis. We're going to do a special show. And Maggie Dawn of the Resistance, is going to fill in during our normal time shift between 3 and 6, right? Maggie's helping us out?
Yes, sir.
She confirmed?
She has.
All right, excellent. That will be probably better than the show we would have done.
Oh, come on, no.
And then from 7 to 11 a.m., we're going to partner with AM 950, the voice of Minnesota. We're going to broadcast live from Super Tuesday, Minnesota. And Dominic, we're going to have a good time, meet some good people, some fans up there from the Twin Cities, and maybe bring home a glorious victory for Amy Klobuchar. Or maybe Bernie Sanders. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for listening. You can join us at 844-967-2789. Looks like Fred from Cottage Grove, you will be next. Thanks for calling today, Fred. What do you got for us?
Hey, good afternoon, fellas.
Hey.
I've been listening to you guys on, there's a Simple Radio app, along with TuneIn Radio app.
Yeah, the TuneIn Radio app, we point people towards the TuneIn Radio app, WRRD, which is our call sign in Milwaukee. You can listen to us hopefully loud and clear there pretty much all the time.
Yes, I can. The Simple Radio also, if somebody downloads the app for Simple Radio, they put in WRRD, they're going to get you in the same thing. I hear more of Earl and stuff in the morning on that Simple Radio, though.
Yes, sir. And we've got a brand new product launching on Super Tuesday. I hate to give it all away, but you're going to be very impressed with our early morning host. We're going to launch a brand new live program next Tuesday, Super Tuesday. And I'm just telling you, I love this host. And hopefully you will soon as well.
Hey, I love all your hosts. You guys got a great radio station. Love it.
Yeah, we got a great team, man, don't we? I mean, really, this is a passion project. And, I know I'm the guy out front asking for money sometimes, but I got to tell you, my guys are the best guys. And I don't just say that. And, not all my guys are guys. Some of them are Maggie Dawn. Some of them are Brandy Grayson. We've got a great team of human beings. And I don't know anyone that's making more better radio with the resources we have. I mean, we got special events, election coverage, Super Tuesday, debate shows, election night shows. I mean, I've said it once, Fred, I'm going to say it again. If you find a more relevant radio station, you go buy it, buddy.
No, actually, what's really nice about your host and stuff, there's a lot of right-wingers that listen to it, and they call in. And it's great to hear their BS.
And I think for every right-winger that calls in, there's got to be 100 or more that are listening. And when I say right-wingers, historically they might have voted for Republicans once upon a time. But, there's a lot of people looking for a new home, Fred. There's a lot of right-wingers, quote-unquote. They've got Trump fatigue as well. They just want normalcy again. Or maybe they want a revolution like I do. Maybe they want to go all the way full Bernie Sanders.
Well, hopefully November will come and tell the truth.
Yes, sir. Well, come November, then we got to start turning the radio station off again, at least the AMs.
No, never again, Crudy. The FM's
FM.
Up and
no
running.
Static at all.
844-967-2789. Thank you for the call, Fred. Annie from Watertown. Welcome back, Annie. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Annie.
FM. Yeah. I'll forget about that guy that called about Liz Warren. That was really sexist. But this just is like the typical modus operandi or whatever of Republicans. Forget prevention. We'll just save the day after a few people die. And it's the Fox News people that always make a big fuss and a big panic over something, and overreact.
Well, that depends on who's the president. I mean, because a tan suit can be a national crisis if it's Obama, but a international pandemic and a crash of the stock market, they tell you to turn off the TV, and it's the mainstream media trying to wreck the Trump presidency. And I think he's doing just fine on his own wrecking the presidency, Annie.
Annie, at least it's not the first lady wearing a sleeveless dress.
And there's so much they don't know about this, like how it's transferred. They really don't know, and it's a horrible, like really awful death. And who was it in the administration said, "Oh, it's the same as flu." 1 in 1,000 people die from the flu. 20 in 1,000 are dying from this. So I mean, it's not the same. But I know nurses aren't appreciating everything, but that guy's like being really stupid. When the Ebola thing happened in, I think, was it Houston? It was the nurses, the EMTs, the hospital, the police, the doctors. Nobody knew what to do, how to report it, who to report it to. There was no infrastructure, and you need training. You need special training to deal with it, I guess, and that's why Obama created the big thing that, doesn't make a profit, costs a lot, I guess, but they needed this, like, whole new program to, I don't know. We'll just have to ask Mr. Fitzgerald, if he can let the UW scientists tell us, if he lets them study it.
Annie, Trump didn't like those deep state epidemiologists. He kind of blew out the whole infectious disease department, but we won't miss it. I'm sure it'll be just fine because we got Mnuchin and Larry Kudlow, the cokehead, on the case. So, we've got the best people. Once again, Trump assigns the best people, and Mike Pence, the guy who wanted to pray away the HIV epidemic instead of doing needle exchanges. he's in charge. So what could possibly go wrong?
He's an expert. He's really good at these kinds of things that he does.
The man doesn't believe in science. AOC today took Ted Cruz to the mat. Ted Cruz is like, as he does, mansplaining to AOC. And AOC said, shut up. You don't even believe in science. 844-967-2789. I think most of our audience
for this.
believes in science. We do have some flat earthers, don't we, Gary? Wisco Paul, welcome back. What do you got for us?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Devils. I appreciate it. Seeing I don't have long to live, it looks like a Capital Amber and Johnny Black mix tonight.
Oh. Be careful. Too much of that, you won't be living through the night.
If the coronavirus doesn't get you, the sclerosis of the liver will.
Oh, I'd rather have the latter. It's more fun. Hey, I do have a grievance, and it's with Scott Walker, Scott Hole, if you will. He said we are all better off with Trump as president. Not
undeniably,
true,
economically better off with Trump as the president, Paul.
Yeah, yeah, right. Well, that's not true, but I can tell him this. Wisconsin is better off without you, Scott Hole. And, hey, you guys rock. I hope you guys stay on forever, unless the coronavirus gets me. But you guys rock, and thanks for taking my calls. I appreciate it, and you guys have a great weekend.
All right, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
You too, my friend.
But Paul only wants us to continue if the coronavirus doesn't get him. Like if Paul passed, unfortunately, we would have a wake and a remembrance of Wisco Paul, but then we would have to, cancel the show, Paul?
Ah, hell, he'd be fine. We'll
the
just
show must go on,
celebrate
Paul.
Paul with some Johnny Walker Black and some Spotted Cow, and we'll all remember Paul.
The Trump administration says alcohol kills coronavirus germs.
Well, I should be fine then. Tom from Cedarburg, you are next. Thanks for calling, Tom. Happy Friday. What do you got for us?
Hey, Tom.
Hi, guys. I was wondering if you'd heard that the lawsuit that went to the Wisconsin Appellate Court, that they struck down the ruling from the Ozaukee County judge today.
The voter purge.
People should be able, the 200,000.
Tom, did we lose you?
I was wondering if you'd heard that or not on the on your news sources.
Tom, we had heard just that, and our understanding and the reporting we've read effectively was a unanimous ruling of the appellate court of the state of Wisconsin. My fear, though, Tom, is that's not the last word. Unfortunately, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, they are the plaintiffs in this action, right? They know that they can go running to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and they got a 5-2 majority. And they've got willing co-conspirators. I mean, this Scott Walker appointee, this guy running for quote-unquote re-election, Dan Kelly, Justice Kelly. Dan Kelly has never voted against the Republican Party. Jill Karofsky's gotten made a lot of hay out of this. But when you've got a court that effectively is a foregone conclusion, talking about the Wisconsin Supreme Court, I mean, Republicans will just basically appeal.
But you think the conservative Supreme Court is going to overturn a unanimous appellate court ruling?
Yeah, without qualm. Dan Kelly, man, bought and paid for. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, never bought and paid for, except by our listeners.
When I say make America great again, it could never be done without you. Great people.
People against goodness and normalcy.
More power, more fight, the most heart. Gingras, Thompson & Walks is more than a law firm. We're family. We believe in doing our best to help people in need and right the wrong that's occurred. For more than 35 years, we've helped thousands of clients across the state of Wisconsin get the justice they deserve. Our proven track record of success isn't based solely on our knowledge of the judicial system. Rather, we make it our priority to get to know our clients and their cases so we can best represent them. Gingras, Thompson & Walks. Find us online at gtwlawyers.com.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Political Talk on Talk 101.7 FM. Weekdays, you can hear Democracy Now! From 7 to 8 a.m. Then it's the Earl Ingram Show from 8 to 11. From 11 till 2, the Tom Hartman program. At 2 o'clock, it's Matt Flynn Direct. From 3 to 6, the Devil's Advocates. And at 6, it's Busted Pencils, Brandy Grayson, and Maggie Dawn. Online at talk1017fm.com. Wisconsin's political talk, because politics matters.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and my family owns Madison Liquidators. Have you ever shopped for office furniture and been completely blown away by the prices? So have I. In Madison, your choices end up being big box stores with inexpensive pieces that fall apart when you look at them the wrong way, or high-end interior design quality furniture that costs as much as a car. That is why my family and I set out to start an office furniture store with a different philosophy and 3 main goals. Get our clients the quality office furniture they need at the prices they can afford, divert sound office furniture from the landfill, and develop relationships with small businesses within our community and help them grow. At Madison Liquidators, you will not be quoted our most expensive pieces up front and scaled back from there. We will work with you within your budget to allocate funds where it counts. We're interested in getting you the most bang for your buck every time. If you see something you like but it's outside your budget, let us know. We always have ideas to help make it work for you. Call me today and let's get started, or visit our website at madisonliquidators.com.
Ass, grass, or cash, nobody rides for free. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open. It's Friday. We air grievances. You can join us toll free at 844-967-2789. Be like Phil from Cudahy. Happy Friday, Phil. What do you got for us today?
Hey, happy Friday, guys. Hey, do you suppose that the evangelicals that support numbnuts, you think they're praying for this pandemic? You think they want this to come? Because isn't that kind of
the end times?
No, they're praying for the rapture. That's a whole different thing. That's when all the MAGA hat wearing people, the evangelicals, they all float up to the clouds apparently, and we the sinners, we're left here to govern ourselves. I'll take my chances post rapture.
I look forward to that.
Seems like Trump wants to start wars, bring on famine, pestilence. I think he's the guy.
The chosen one.
The Antichrist? Is Trump the Antichrist? We got locust swarms going on right now. We got coronavirus going around. Yeah. We got fires. The water's dirty. The air's getting dirtier. Phil, what the hell's going on here, man?
You know what it is. It's what they said, man. It's the end. He's bringing it.
Well, if you're going to go out, at least you're listening to the right radio show, Phil. It'll be a political party to the very last.
Hey, post 420. Have a good night.
All right, Phil. Thank you. You too, my friend.
Well, fortunately, we play out in the Eastern time zone, the Central time zone, and the Western time zone, Dom. So it's always 420 somewhere.
That it is. 844-967-2789. Lori from New Mexico. Welcome to the show. Lori, what do you got for us?
Hey, Lori.
I just want to know, why is everyone so afraid? I mean, don't we have a stable genius in the White House?
Yes, we do.
I mean, we should have a cure for this like any second. I'm surprised that we don't have one already. I mean, what's all the fear among everyone's afraid of what? This guy's going to
extremely stable
got a cure
genius
for cancer and everything else.
Well, but the windmills keep causing more cancer, Lori.
Oh, but I'm sure he can solve that too. Come on. Right?
It's
what is everyone afraid of?
The guy stares into solar eclipses. He thinks windmills cause cancer.
Hey, no one's going to tell Trump what to do.
Lori, I'm not even convinced the man thinks the world is round.
Nobody's stronger than me.
Oh, my God. We are doomed with this guy. Doomed. I mean, he has no clue whatsoever.
Well, the good news, Lori, is that Vice President Pence is now on the case, and he handled that AIDS outbreak so well in his home state. What could possibly go wrong now?
Right. He's just going to pray, right? And it's all going to go away, and that's going to work quite well for everyone, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pray it away.
About vaccine or masks or anything. We don't need anything.
No.
Just pray, everyone, and it'll be fine, right?
Or you could hope. You could hope. I think Trump said he hoped this would go away soon.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Oh, I hope he goes away soon. Yeah, that's what I hope.
I second that emotion, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. No,
thank you for listening in the great desert Southwest. Dominic, you know the problem. Our audience, they're just not woke enough for Trump.
Is that what it is?
TheHill.com reporting Trump store selling woke merchandise as part of its outreach to black voters.
What?
Supporters of President Trump can now purchase woke hats and Black Voices for Trump t-shirts from his campaign store as his team works to expand its outreach to black voters. On the president's official campaign website, visitors can find t-shirts in unisex sizes selling at $25 a piece. The shirts, which the campaign notes on its site, are proudly made in the USA, apparently the Marianas Islands, right, Tom? Come in both white and black and bear the words Black Voices for Trump in contrasting black or white lettering. Here's what the website says, Tom. Proudly wear the official Black Voices for Trump tee and show your support for our great president. What the hell do you have to lose? No, it doesn't say that.
I want that shirt.
Dominic, supporters are also able to buy a Black Voices for Trump hat or set of buttons on the online store at $35 and $5 each, respectively. Another new hat sold in the online store reads the word woke in thick black font on the front and the word MAGA in acronym. Because no two words go better together than MAGA and woke, Dom. An acronym for Trump's Make America Great Again campaign slogan on the back of the italicized font. The campaign is selling those hats, $35 each as well. It's time to get hashtag woke, a Twitter account for Trump's campaign tweeted in reference to the new merchandise on Wednesday. I wonder if Al from Sherman Park, I wonder if he'll get his woke hat. He's quite Trump supportive.
Crudy, some breaking news. I think we should throw this one out there from the Washington Post. Former White House counsel Don McGahn does not have to testify to House appeals court fines. He can defy a congressional subpoena. Of course, they sided with Trump, who would block the top advisors from testifying as part of the impeachment proceedings. In a 2-1 ruling by a 3-judge panel, if it stands, means Trump's former lawyer cannot be compelled to appear on Capitol Hill and comes after Democrats lost their bid to call additional witnesses during Trump's Senate trial. The Justice Department argued that the Constitution categorically bars the courts from stepping into this kind of dispute between the politically elected legislative and executive branches. In a 37-page opinion, U.S. Circuit Judge Thomas Griffith wrote, "We agree," and dismissed this case. The committee suits ask us to settle a dispute that we have no authority to resolve. The Constitution does not vest federal courts with some amorphous general supervision of the operations of government, Griffith wrote, drawing a concurring opinion from Judge Karen LaCraft Henderson and a dissent from Judge Judith Rogers. In a 20-page concurring opinion, Henderson balked at the sweeping concession of judicial power, rejecting Griffith's categorical stance that neither Congress nor the House or Senate may resort to the courts in any interbranch dispute. I do not believe, however, Supreme Court precedent supports a holding of that scope. Henderson also rejected an administration claim that top White House aides enjoy absolute immunity against compelled testimony, saying the assertion is a step too far, again under Supreme Court precedent.
Too bad the Democrats didn't wait on the courts to make a proper ruling on this, Tom. So they could have compelled Don McGahn's testimony. And now that's not what the court ruled.
That's right.
This is a very troubling ruling. I'm not sure that we will see better at the U.S. Supreme Court, because that's the Roberts Court, the Alito Court, the Thomas Court, the Scalia Court. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. It's a happy hour, and I ain't feeling very happy. Not yet. Perhaps with your calls. 844-967-2789.
No regard for the safety and security of its people or its neighbors, and has no respect for human life.
The irony is a little rich here these days.
Nobody can do it like me. Nobody can do it like me.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy.
Nasala Kombucha. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and nasala.com. You are listening to WRRD Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee. Always streaming at talk1017fm.com.
Special report, stocks slide as virus spreads. Stocks dropped again after a wild day on Wall Street. Correspondent Steve Kastenbaum reports the Dow lost 357 points as coronavirus fears escalate.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average fluctuated all day long but never got out of negative territory. It started off with a major loss of more than 1,000 points shortly after the opening bell. Investors on Wall Street reacting to a bevy of information surrounding coronavirus, including the World Health Organization saying hospitals around the world were not prepared for a pandemic.
President Trump told reporters his administration has a handle on the virus outbreak that's cut into travel and trade.
Well, I'm spending a lot of time on it, just in coordination. Mike Pence is doing a great job. Dr. Fauci is great.
The Washington Post is reporting that a second coronavirus case of unknown origin has been confirmed in California, the patient being a 65-year-old from Santa Clara County. I'm Barbara Cusack. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is expected to witness the signing of a U.S.-Taliban agreement on a withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan tomorrow. Correspondent Barbara Starr explains what the deal may lead to.
If this all works, the U.S. will be able to bring some troops home rather quickly. 12 to 13,000 there right now, come down to 8,600 troops in Afghanistan, still there to fight the remnants of al-Qaeda.
A federal appeals court ruled that judges have no role to play in the subpoena fight between the House and the Trump administration over the testimony of high-ranking officials. If the ruling stands, that means that President Trump's former White House counsel Don McGahn cannot be forced to appear on Capitol Hill. The Federal Communications Commission proposed roughly $200 million in fines combined for the 4 major U.S. phone companies for improperly disclosing customers' real-time location. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Beating Donald Trump is my life's mission. Winning Wisconsin is the key. We built a progressive Wisconsin talk radio network to do just that. Now I need your help. I need money to complete the mission. Beat Donald Trump. Support progressive radio. Give now at GoFundMe Resistance Radio Wisconsin or find the Support the Station link on any of our websites. I can't do it alone. Thank you for your help.
Milwaukee is a great city with a great history and great architecture. You can take in Milwaukee's history and architecture while you partake in the delicious Wisconsin craft beer at Regano's Roman Coin on historic Brady Street. The Roman Coin was originally a Pabst Tight House built by Frederick Pabst in 1890 to sell Pabst beer. It was even designed by the same architect who designed the Pabst Theater. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's historic, pet-friendly, cash-only, order-in classic corner tavern.
Americans pulled back slightly on their spending in January, even as their income surged, but the outlook of Americans is holding steady.
According to the final February reading from the University of Michigan, consumer sentiment inched higher. During the last 2 days of the survey, the number of consumers who mentioned the impact of the coronavirus more than doubled. Economists say if the coronavirus spreads in the U.S., it could have a significant impact on consumer spending if Americans limit going to stores and restaurants, the theater or sporting events, or cut back on air travel. But online shopping could increase. I'm Ann Cates.
Women's rights activists protested today outside a Paris concert hall where France's Film Academy is presenting its version of the Oscars. Director Roman Polanski decided to skip the César Award ceremony because of earlier protests by women's groups after a French woman brought a new accusation of rape against him. Polanski's An Officer and a Spy received 12 nominations, already won the adapted screenplay. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and my family owns Madison Liquidators. Have you ever shopped for office furniture and been completely blown away by the prices? So have I. In Madison, your choices end up being big box stores with inexpensive pieces that fall apart when you look at them the wrong way, or high-end interior design quality furniture that costs as much as a car. That is why my family and I set out to start an office furniture store with a different philosophy and 3 main goals. Get our clients the quality office furniture they need at the prices they can afford, divert sound office furniture from the landfill, and develop relationships with small businesses within our community and help them grow. At Madison Liquidators, you will not be quoted our most expensive pieces up front and scaled back from there. We will work with you within your budget to allocate funds where it counts. We're interested in getting you the most bang for your buck every time. If you see something you like but it's outside your budget, let us know. We always have ideas to help make it work for you. Call me today and let's get started, or visit our website at madisonliquidators.com.
For 1017 Milwaukee and 92.7 Madison, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A new Marquette Law School poll was released yesterday, and it shows Senator Bernie Sanders surging, now with a double-digit lead over his Democratic opponents. 29% of the respondents said they will vote for the Vermont senator in Wisconsin's April 7th presidential primary election. This is the first time in this election cycle that Sanders has led in the Marquette poll. He defeated Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin's 2016 presidential primary. Mike Bloomberg came in second place in the poll released yesterday with 17%, and Joe Biden was third with 15%. Forecast for Milwaukee and Madison tonight: mostly clear, lows around 12 degrees in Milwaukee, 7 in Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine with highs in the mid-30s. You are tuned in to Wisconsin's Political Talk Network.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We are sliding into the Friday happy hour, the last day before South Carolina votes. Dom, you feeling happy?
I'm always happy. I'm usually happy. Hell, it's Friday, man.
You're almost never happy.
I'm
what are you
usually
talking about?
happy.
Okay, you're often happy on Fridays.
No,
So
this is going to be exciting. Of course, South Carolina goes off tomorrow. Super Tuesday. We'll be in Minnesota for that. I mean, these next few days, huge implications.
Dominic, also, I got some news which I was completely unaware of during the course of the commercial break. Vice President Mike Pence, I never realized his drag name just happens to be Coronavirus.
Nice.
I was completely unaware, but he's lovely in purple. 844-967-2789. Always love when our audience participates, airs their grievances on a Friday. Jeff from Janesville, you're next, sir. Welcome.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to thank you guys so much, and I've stepped up. I just want you to know I've stepped up. I've heard your GoFundMe page and on your station, and I've stepped up. I don't have a lot of greenbacks, but I'm going to try to every month give you at least a small amount. I mean,
Jeff,
I listened to Randy.
That's greatly appreciated, man.
I listen to Randy Rhoads, I listen to Tom Harmon, but you guys are my favorite. And maybe it's the local connection because I'm from your neck of the woods. I'm not sure what it is, but you guys always make me chuckle, plus inform me. And I don't want you ever to be silenced. You're that important. You really are.
Well, kind words, Jeff. And some people say, at least the announcer on this show, greatest radio show ever.
It's true.
You're my favorite of a bunch of them that I listen to. I mean, you really are. You guys are my favorite.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Very kind words, and really appreciate the financial support. So many people have stepped up, and, I talk about I stepped up. Well, all my guys stepped up. I mean, Dominic stepped up, and Fancy Brian stepped up. None of these guys make enough money. They're all working well beyond what I can afford to pay them, and the audience. And I greatly appreciate the audience stepping up, because right now, in the very shortest of run, Jeff, I feel very vulnerable. And it's very hard for me to ask for help. Not so hard to go borrow money, although it's getting harder all the time. But over the course of this endeavor, over the course of building out over the last 3 years, 4 stations, I mean, I've had a very clear vision. And it is greatly appreciated that the audience believes in what it is I'm trying to accomplish. If not the dim consulting class, I mean, it means more to me that you care, Jeff, than Bloomberg.
Yes,
although
I do.
He's probably got a few more greenbacks.
I mean, 3 years ago, I donated to Bernie's campaign, and I saw where that went with the DNC giving him the shaft. And now I'm getting bombarded by Bernie stuff all the time. And I can't say I'm a Bernie bro yet. I kind of, it's either Elizabeth or Bernie. I'm a progressive. But I mean, if he ends up being the candidate, I'll try to donate to him too. But until he's the candidate, until he's the Democratic candidate, I mean, if he gets nominated, then I'll donate to him. But I'm not
predicated on that, Jeff. I guess I'm cheering for Joe Biden tomorrow in South Carolina. Thanks a lot, brother. Really appreciate the kind words and the contribution. 844-967-2789. Our pal Dick from Madison. You've always got something to say, Dick. Welcome back.
Yeah, too much sometimes. I got to get your information and get something to you, too. Seriously. Sorry about the BMW joke last night, too.
No, dude, never
Dick,
apologize for
you know what I feel like now? Did I mention that you can buy the BMW? I am turning tail. I am getting out of my jerkmobile.
So what's the new jerkmobile going to be, Crudy? Whatever car you drive?
Come on. Dick, if you would like to have a red jerkmobile, it's currently for sale. I'm gonna sell the damn thing. And then, the world will only regard me for the warm, generous, humble man I am.
Well, there you go. My gripe tonight, did you see this clown that's the head of Health and Human Services, his little, I don't know what you'd call it. He spoke for about 5 minutes. I caught it before I left to go out and take care of a couple of errands.
Is that
this guy's
Azar?
He's going to profiteer off anything that they do come up with.
Well, Dick, if you got the money
to do with Big Pharma,
if you have the money, you can get the coronavirus test.
Yeah,
but if you don't have the money, I guess you just walk around and infect your friends.
Yeah,
capitalism.
That's the way it goes. Yeah, nice idea. But seriously, he does have something ties to Big Pharma, does he not? And it's just like, to me, it's like a form of war profiteering. What he's going to do, he's going to prey on an international health crisis and make a bunch of money off it. And it's sick. It's just
well, Dick. I mean, can you blame the guy? I mean, anybody around Trump right now is seeing what Trump's doing, and Trump's making bank off of his being in the White House every time he turns around. I mean, can you blame any of his subordinates or staff if they're going to do the same thing?
Well, I can.
Well, we could, but he's leading. He's showing everyone the way. Wrap up your policy with your profits, and man, the checks will roll.
Yeah, and it's just to me it's worse than war profiteering. It's worse than predatory loan people. It's all the above. I mean, let's just go out on a misery situation worldwide and make money off from it. That sounds good.
Well, now you've effectively explain capitalism, Dick.
That's a business plan.
Oh, boy. Well, have a good weekend on that note.
All right. Thank you for the call, Dick. Always appreciate it, man. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I've had a few grievances today. How about you, buddy? Anything on your mind?
Anything you want to talk about? No, I'm actually pretty good. I'm looking forward to our pal Maggie Dawn. She's going to join us at the bottom of the hour, 5:30. She'll, join
She's gonna
us.
Chastise me for my birdie love.
Grow up, Crudy. Oh, we look forward to catching up with our friend Maggie Dawn. Of course, her show kicks off at 6, but she's going to come in a little bit early to hang out with us, with you.
Excellent. I look forward to having Maggie Dawn. And in light of the fact she'll be joining us soon, I better get my birdie loving in now. Dom, it's not just me feeling the burn. It's a lot of porn stars.
Are you a porn star?
I could be.
I wouldn't say star.
I could film myself naked if that's what you're looking for.
I guess that's really all it takes.
Let me stick to the Daily Beast piece for just a bit longer. No one needs that visual, Dom. The Daily Beast surveyed many of the top names in porn about their favorite 2020 candidates and found that the overwhelming majority are feeling the burn.
And not just when they urinate.
In this case, spelled B-E-R-N. I'm going to read from this piece briefly. Marlo Stern, senior entertainment editor at the Daily Beast, writes, Bernie Sanders, perennial outsider, roll call amendment king of the Senate, and one-time Hollywood co-star of Susan Sarandon, didn't even know that, has found himself in an unlikely position. Democratic frontrunner. Yes, after the popular vote victories in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada primaries, the Democratic Socialist senator from Vermont is the leader of the race for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination, fending off meme-happy, money-burning billionaire, a kooky cabal of MSNBC haters, and party leadership. His is insidious, very online attack dogs, notwithstanding a self-described multi-generational, multiracial coalition that includes everyone from Ariana Grande and Public Enemy to Dick Van Dyke. You know Public Enemy is doing a concert for Bernie this Sunday in Los Angeles?
Yeah, boy. Is that Public Enemy? That's Public Enemy.
Yeah.
All right.
Flavor Flav. You are the Flavor Flav of political talk, Tom.
I've been told that.
And now the septuagenarian can add another group of admirers to his circle. Porn stars.
Do we have any porn music?
Beat.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we need some.
Yeah, some background music. Let's get us really going in the moment. Whenever you get a chance there, Brian.
If we could call our shot, Debbie Does Dallas or something along that genre.
There you go. Okay.
The Daily Beast reached out to 30 of the biggest names in the adult industry. And while a number of them couldn't go on the record, with several citing contract stipulations preventing them from endorsing a presidential candidate. Really? Porn contracts say you can't be political? Well, I read on. More than half relayed their support for Bernie 2020. Only one confessed they'd be voting Trump. Here's one quote. I am a Bernie Sanders supporter. I voted for him against Hillary, and when given the opportunity, I will vote for him again, said Alana Evans, president of the Adult Performers Actors Guild, the APAG. Reading on just a little farther, Dom, Evans, who was once subjected to a very strange encounter with President Trump, said she feels Sanders is the most sensible candidate because of his plans for healthcare and education, and isn't nearly as high on the rest of the pool. Bloomberg is Trump in sheep's clothing. It would end up being 8 more years of the same crap we already had. Elizabeth Warren at one point had created a bill that would have potentially taken away bank accounts of sex workers across the country under the guise of preventing sex trafficking. I'm tired of seeing politicians label of sex trafficking to garner attention for their platforms when they don't understand that many of the people that are labeled as trafficked are in fact consensual sex workers. The bill Evans is referring to is called the In Banking for Human Traffickers Act, which Warren co-sponsored with Marco Rubio, and which would have enabled banks to discriminate against virtually all sex workers by targeting their transactions. Let me jump ahead. That's one reason why adult actress Tasha Rain said something else. I jumped ahead. Said she's part of Team Warren. She has a vagina, and I want an effing woman president. How archaic is it that America, we've never had a woman president. It's beyond upsetting to me. I also like what Elizabeth Warren stands for. She's pro-sex workers' rights. That's all I need to know. Well, Dom is pro-sex work. I can guarantee you that. Come back with us. The Devil's Advocates getting all sexy up in here on a Friday.
Everything you want. Everything.
Mike, that's a very good question.
And that's when the whores come in.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star.
I was in the pool! I was in the pool!
Dom, the Devil's Advocates are going on an adventure.
Join Crute and I for our inaugural 420 2020 celebration from our friends at Expedia Cruise Ship Centers of Madison. Our political party runs for 7 nights over the 420 holiday in sunny and cannabis legal California. The Hilton La Jolla Torrey Pines is near the beach, boasting a world-class golf course, and is just a few minutes drive from downtown San Diego.
Expedia prices, local service. Visit them on Madison's west side off Mineral Point Road or Google Expedia Cruise Ship Centers Madison.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Max Inc. Radio, this is Rocker. Hey, Jimmy. What? I don't care if they have witnesses. You tell that crispy crudy guy to... Hey, Jimmy, I got to take this call. It's William Shatner. He's a really big fan. Hey, William, unplug from the politics with Max Inc. Radio, Saturday and Sundays, 6 to 9 p.m. on 92.7 FM Madison, 101.7 FM Milwaukee, and streaming online at maxincradio.com.
Are you considering selling your Madison area home? This is Amy Hopfinger with Homestead Realty. Home prices are changing, so it's important not to waste your time and money with renovations that won't affect the value of your home. Allow my team's experts to determine which projects you should and shouldn't do to receive top dollar for your home. Homestead Realty, no pressure, no obligation to list. To learn more, check out wihomeprices.com.
Women want them. Men want to be them. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday, everyone. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we were just sharing an article with the audience from the Daily Beast. Apparently, porn stars feeling the burn. Well, South Carolina is tomorrow, Dom. And although they might be watching the porn down in the Palmetto State, they're not making so much porn down in the Palmetto State because nobody wants to hear from a porn star named Bubba.
Bubba. Are there porn stars named Bubba?
Well, if they're making porn in South Carolina, I suspect there's a Bubba involved. Real quick, I'm going to finish up this piece. Sanders.
No, Sanders. Yep, go ahead. Sanders is an original co-sponsor of the Safe Sex Workers Study Act and voiced his support for the decriminalization of sex work before Warren did. This despite, like Warren, voting in favor of this set of bills in 2018. So while, while adult star Janice Griffith critiques his history on sex work, she tells the Daily Beast that she's supporting Sanders. She's supporting Sanders thanks to two Crudy of his policy positions: Medicare for all,
which
the
are
abolition of ICE.
What do you think her favorite positions are? Missionary and reverse cowbell?
I don't think she's a.
Who's your favorite little rascal?
Is it Spanky?
Let me read on. I'll try to carry this one respectfully all the way through to conclusion. Plus, like her adult industry colleagues, she's not crazy about the competition. Again, reading an article at the Daily Beast, porn stars for Birdie. Here's what she said. At Bloomberg, Klobuchar is a cop. Steyer isn't a real contender. Buttigieg is a creepy plant mimicking talking points while skating around the issues, never giving a straight answer, said Griffith, who is also volunteering for Sanders. The majority of the adult industry folks the Daily Beast spoke to maintain that Sanders' Medicare for All plan is a big reason why he has their support, which makes sense given the difficulties that sex workers have in acquiring decent, affordable health care. They also like his prospects in a head-to-head matchup against Trump, who, despite allegedly conducting affairs and paying for the silence of porn stars and cameoing in a number of softcore videos, stands behind a Republican Party platform that branded porn a public health crisis.
What?
Yeah, the Republicans, they branded porn it's part of their platform, I believe.
A public health crisis. Well, they better put Vice President Pence in charge of the porn brigade. He'll never come out of the White House.
He'll know it when he sees it.
Yeah.
Finally, a quote to wrap things up. Sydney Leathers, probably not her real name. I'm supporting Bernie because his health care is my biggest issue as a voter, and he's a person with the best plan. I also believe he has the most motivated base and the best chance of beating Trump. Well, I, like that finally named porn star, agree. Feel the burn. B-E-R-N. Burn.
Sydney Leathers, 844-967-2789.
What's
Pizza
your
Box.
porn name, Dom?
It's not Pizza Box. Hey, Mike, what do you got for us?
Well, I got 3 points. Okay, so this is Joe Biden's putting it all on South Carolina, but I just want to remind everybody that when Barack Obama and Biden were on the ticket, they did not carry South Carolina. So, big win on that.
Joe Biden's never carried a state, period, Pizza Box. Joe Biden has never won a state. South Carolina may be his first.
The Republicans want him. Yeah, I mean, that was from the start, pretending like he was the guy they didn't want. But some people don't know how the Republican Party operates. But then, I mean, Buttigieg, a couple weeks ago, I'm like, God, this guy must be practicing Obama in the mirror. And last night they had him side by side, word for word, plagiarizing speeches of Obama. Just like
normally
Melania.
It's Melania that plagiarizes in Obama.
Yeah. Well, I guess, all the Republicans do that. And lastly, the superdelegates, 92, 93 of them that said that they definitely wouldn't be supporting Bernie if he doesn't have the amount. They're all like lobbyists and stuff, pharmaceutical, fossil fuel, Wall Street. They even have one on there in 2018 made huge contributions to all Republicans, people. These are the Democratic superdelegates. See you in Milwaukee.
Wow, Pizza Box, thank you for that information. I had not heard that. I'll have to verify that, but that's certainly concerning. And a guy like Sanders that's the point, though. I mean, the guy like Sanders is going to upset, the establishment. He's going to upset how things have already been. I mean, money flows, and you got a guy like Sanders who is resonating with the people, and they're going to prop him up and finance him. To what degree, I guess we'll have to find out. But obviously, money rules in this world, and there's a lot of rich gems out there, too.
You know what? Joe Biden doesn't have a lot of money. He's got to put all his chips on South Carolina. I mean, doesn't have the resources to go and fight on the Super Tuesday battlefield. But one of 3 things can happen in South Carolina tomorrow, Dom. Biden could win. He could win big. Or he could lose, right? Let's explore what could happen according to 538.com. That's Nate Silver's outfit, the pollsters. Let's explore what could happen, what sort of momentum could come out of South Carolina with the Joe Biden big win, a medium win, or a Bernie Sanders win.
Uh-oh.
And it would all portend different things perhaps for the rest of the race. If Bernie wins in South Carolina tomorrow, and Joe Biden still cannot count a single state that he has ever won in 3 cracks at running for the presidency, Dom, I would say it's probably time for Uncle Joe to get out, perhaps retire to porn.
Biden's going to win.
I have $5 in the beer fund that says he will not. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, more of your Friday grievances. Air them here. 844-967-2789.
Dream of California.
If you missed something on the Devil's Advocates, don't worry. After you get over your shame, you can check out domandcroot.com. Podcasts and interviews updated daily.
Who's your favorite little rascal? Alfalfa? Or is it Spanky?
I'd like to keep it on manual control for a while.
Back door. Good idea.
Get in there, you big Torio! I don't care what you smell!
Look at the size of that thing.
I have milked him.
Thinner.
Thanks to you, our listeners, Wisconsin's Political Talk Network continues to grow. Now, radio listeners in the Milwaukee area can hear WRRD on the FM dial at 101.7 FM 24 hours a day. Tune in when you're in the car, at home, or at work, because politics matters at Talk 101.7 FM.
Milwaukee, tune in from 11 to 2 on Talk 101.7 FM for the Tom Hartman program. Join the show's conversation because our democracy is not a spectator sport. Listen live Monday through Friday right here on Talk 101.7 FM, Wisconsin's political talk network.
Tune in Saturday morning for Development Matters with me, Ken Harwood, for an honest discussion about economic development right here in Wisconsin. From Lambeau Field to electric cabs, we're talking about real solutions for real problems right here in Wisconsin.
You are listening to WRRD Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, always streaming at Talk1017FM.com.
This is Earl Ingram Jr. inviting you to a celebration of African American heritage, history, and culture. We Are the Drum, presented by Capitol Productions, showing at Milwaukee Marshall High School, 4141 North 64th Street in Milwaukee. Opening night, Saturday, February 29th, with 2 shows at 3 and 7 p.m. Also showing Friday and Saturday, March 6th and 7th at 7 p.m. with a Friday fish fry option at 5 p.m. for $15. And the finale is Sunday, March 8th at 3 p.m. Seats $10 online at Eventbrite and $15 at the door. And only $5 on community night, Thursday, February 27th. Purchase your tickets locally at Torrance's House of Threads, Rise and Grind Cafe, confectionately yours at the Sherman Phoenix. Coffee makes you black, and Milwaukee Marshall High School. Raise the bar, believe, achieve, receive. We Are the Drum, presented by Capitol Productions.
So, Dave, I hear you and your team at Community PC can really help a guy like me when I'm having a hard time keeping my computer up to date.
Oh, yeah, Crudy. Community PC provides great service from trusted local technicians to give our clients peace of mind when it comes to their computers.
Will I wait on hold all day?
Our team can provide you with immediate trusted remote service. We also offer timely on-site service in Dane and Rock counties. Find us at commpc.com to learn more. Community PC. We know what makes computers happy.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Political Talk on Talk 101.7 FM. Weekdays, you can hear Democracy Now! From 7 to 8 a.m. Then it's the Earl Ingram Show from 8 to 11. From 11 till 2, the Tom Hartman program. At 2 o'clock, it's Matt Flynn Direct. From 3 to 6, the Devil's Advocates. And at 6, it's Busted Pencils, Brandy Grayson, and Maggie Dawn. Online at Talk1017FM.com. Wisconsin's Political Talk, because politics matters. For 101.7 Milwaukee and 92.7 Madison, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A new leadership team has been named for the host committee of the 2020 Democratic National Convention, and this time they are from Milwaukee instead of New Jersey. The new chief executive officer is Raquel Filmanowicz, who works for BMO Harris as the director of U.S. Community Giving. And the new chief operating officer of the DNC host committee is Paula Pennebaker. She is the former chief executive officer of the YWCA Southeast Wisconsin. The host committee is in charge of raising money and organizing volunteers for the convention. Forecast for Milwaukee and Madison. Tonight, mostly clear skies, lows around 12 degrees in Milwaukee, 7 in Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the mid-30s. And then for Sunday, mostly cloudy with highs in the upper 40s. You are tuned in to Wisconsin's Political Talk Network.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
I am still living with your ghost.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the happy hour. It continues because, Dominic, we've been joined by a fine friend. Our work is done here. We got Maggie Dawn down at the Resistance. She follows this fine program at 6 p.m. Central Time. Stick around. Dawn at the Resistance is next. But a little preview with our friend Maggie Dawn. How you doing, sister?
I'm really good, Mike. Dom, thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure,
a little
Maggie.
early on Fun Fridays,
It is
right?
Friday. We love it. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Maggie, I don't know if you heard the important topic we were covering before you arrived in studio.
Of course I did.
But one industry has gone overwhelmingly for Bernie Sanders. Bernie's got the porn stars. And if you got the porn stars, you got America.
That might be true.
I'm so rarely rendered speechless, and I have nothing to say in response to that. Like, nothing.
Well, the flip side of that equation is Michael Bloomberg has been running advertisements on Pornhub.
Seriously?
Mike gets it done. No, I don't think that's for real. But, you know, if he was thorough, he would.
Now, Bernie has the porn industry, apparently, according to the Daily Beast, but Trump had the porn star.
Yeah, but maybe 1 to 2 of them.
At that speed, would be able to pull out in time?
I like that you're doing a highbrow show this afternoon,
Well,
guys.
of course, we do nothing but.
How does this differ from our other weekday shows?
Yeah, I was just going to say, wait a minute, on Friday, any day that ends in Y, right, guys?
Pretty
Maggie,
much.
South Carolina is happening tomorrow, and, you know, Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden's last stand, the centrist Joe, and he's doing well in the polls, currently ahead of Bernie Sanders. There was some thought maybe a week or two ago when Bernie crushed it in Nevada that Joe might be all but done for. So, Maggie, your tea leaf reading, if you would please. Yeah. Can Joe Biden, you know, rise like a phoenix from the ashes and win his first primary in 3 presidential contests? The guy's never won, Maggie. It's time to win if he wants to claim a path to the presidency. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I also think, dear Amy, Pete, Mike, and Elizabeth, it's time to hang up the cleats and let the 2 Bs, like, duke it out. Like, we need Bernie and Biden to go head-to-head. All these other people in the mix is making it hard to get a really, I think, clear read on what do liberals and Dems and progressives want. And everybody's got their own opinions. And as I've always said, no matter who the nominee is, I will be all in to try to help that person take back the White House. I'm a little bit worried about South Carolina simply because of the Republican trolling. It's an open primary, and they've literally been telling people to get out and vote for Bernie. So, you know, again, some interesting things going on in South Carolina. But, yeah, I think it's a must-win for Joe.
But do you, I mean, realistically, let's address this sort of votes of mischief, Operation Chaos, if you will. Do you think that happens with a high enough propensity to affect the outcome? Once upon a time, I voted for Rick Santorum trying to drag out the presidential primary on the Republican side between him and Mitt Romney. And I think I also tabbed for Tammy Baldwin. I effectively invalidated my ballot.
Yeah, so, gosh, Rick Santorum.
Frothy Santorum.
You know, I had to think about that vote almost as long as I had to think
getting
about
trolled. Sorry.
before voting for Hillary Clinton.
Well, yeah. I have done that before in open primaries myself. I think it's pretty, you know, it's kind of a dirty, but that's what we've got. Like, that's.
But do you think it
system.
ultimately ever impacts the outcome?
Just everything that we're talking about today is totally new, and like the previous sort of rules of the road don't apply now because it's just so different. I think Trump's base is so much more activated and tuned in than in any election cycle we've ever seen. So do I think it's possible a whole bunch of MAGA hat wearing knuckle draggers? I'm sorry. Trump's loyal base of reasonable conservatives and Republicans show up and cast a vote? Yeah, I do.
Them too? Both of those groups?
No, he's just trying to edit myself back into being less pejorative. Okay.
South Carolina has a bad reputation for whisper campaigns and dirty pool. Let's not forget, I believe it was John McCain, the whisper campaign about McCain back in 2008 was he had a black baby. You remember that, Maggie?
Oh,
well, John
Lord,
McCain has an adopted child of color, and that was the whisper campaign. And I don't recall, did McCain win South Carolina? I know he did not go on and carry the eventual presidency, but I think it damaged him in South Carolina.
Listen, all that kind of muckraking does, and some of it's to be expected. And I think to the extent that there are personal issues in a candidate's lives that are actually germane to the policy debate, that's free game. That's just trying to talk smack about someone. In the case of sort of, the interesting point is, why did they think that was a negative on John? Was it that he had a relationship with a black woman, or that it was a relationship outside of his marriage? I mean, like, was it just abject racism that was actually going on there? And yes, of course, that's the answer. It's like John McCain's bad because he likes black people. Like that was what they were trying to say. And I think that that's really disappointing. And I also don't think it's really what voters want to hear. But I don't live in South Carolina. I don't know. That's south of the Mason-Dixon. I get a little nervous when I go down there.
Or as the Bloomberg campaign would say, they didn't even have the common decency to offer an NDA and a payoff.
Yeah, right. Oh, Bloomberg.
Now, Maggie, let me ask you. You talk about some of these other folks getting out of the race. So we got South Carolina Super Tuesday. No one's getting out in the next week, right?
Yep.
And Bloomberg and Steyer got the money to go as long as they want, and presumably the money that Bloomberg is investing is, and Steyer to some degree as well in South Carolina, is getting some payback. I mean, they're getting some return on that investment. They can go on forever. How do you think that will impact this race, even if it goes down to Sanders and Biden, but you still got the billionaires in the race?
Yeah, it's a real problem, right? Because it's frankly a distorting force. And I don't think most Democrats and progressives want it to be the case that if you simply have a big enough bank account that you can buy the highest elected office in the land.
Yeah, normally you put the funnel that money through somebody else, and then they work for. Yeah, right. Okay.
We do it illegally, or legally. Thank you, Citizens United, through soft money PACs.
So eliminating the middleman, you think, is somewhat more objectionable than the way it's been done.
Yeah, and I've always, anytime we've talked about this, and different candidates at different points in time in their political lives are differently successful at the small dollar donations, right? Obama really sort of created that, at least the IT and social media infrastructure to show people how to do that. But the problem is money in politics, period. And these are solvable problems. And that's not just on the Republican side, it's on the Democratic side as well.
Well, you have to admit there's a problem first in order to solve it.
That's right.
And anyone who's cashing those checks don't think it's a problem.
That's right.
Maggie,
access and power and influences, everybody likes that. That's nice.
Well, isn't that to some degree, while I don't agree with all of Bernie Sanders' proposals,
you what?
I trust.
Wait. Was that? Can you say that again, Mike?
Can you name one you don't agree with?
I don't believe in every avocation Bernie Sanders would make, but I trust the man is not getting paid off to make that avocation. I worry about so many of these politicians. Are they doing it out of the goodness of their heart, out of their intellect, or out of their campaign war chest? I've always worried that the influence of money is the worst part about politics, Maggie.
I completely agree with that. It is
my
the
guy,
worst part
Bernie
of politics.
Sanders. I'm not saying he's perfect, although he's damn close. But he cannot be painted with that corrupted paintbrush like so many of the others could.
Well, except it's just not that simple, right? Bernie Sanders made a very, I think, calculated political decision to never really go after the guns in Vermont, because they were showing up and supporting it.
I have a D-minus rating with the NRA.
Yeah, right. So, those calculations get done in different ways by different politicians at different points in time. Now, Bernie, Public Enemy is opening for me in South Carolina. Listen, Public Enemy doesn't speak for the integrity of black voters, right? I mean, so I don't know if you want to call it pandering or trading votes for support. That is that democratic small d? I think some people could argue it is.
What's the pandering? What's the pandering?
That I truly believe that Bernie Sanders thinks that we should be regulating guns, but he traded away an earnestly held and genuine belief in order to keep himself in office. and agreed to never touch guns so that he could pull in the voters that he needed to stay in power in Vermont. It's as simple as that.
But how do we throw into this mix, though, the whole point of, governance is compromise, right? You compromise with the other side, you compromise with your own electoral realities.
Yeah, and I think that that's a fair point when you're talking about gradations. That's why I think the gun point about Bernie, if we're all being really honest about it, is a really apt example, because I cannot think that Bernie Sanders truly believes that we shouldn't be able to regulate guns more. And so he completely traded that away. It wasn't a nuanced negotiation. And that's part of my response to you. Of course, representational democracies are negotiations and horse trading and all kinds of things to get things done. But I think that's a pretty clear example of a guy who I just cannot think that he does not have a good faith belief that we should be able to regulate guns, and he completely abandoned that. So that's not a gray.
I don't see it exactly as such, but let me ask you, the crime bill that Joe Biden brags often and alternatively apologizes for, the crime bill, Bernie Sanders voted for the crime bill. And I don't think a lot of people actually cast any aspersions towards Bernie Sanders. At the time, and I went back and I checked the record, he said it was about the Violence Against Women Act. There was some good contained within the crime bill, and though he objected to large portions of the bill, he ultimately voted for it. And I would just wonder, although he claims it's one of his biggest regrets, he didn't show himself to be uncompromising. And there are times I've heard him described as thus, talking about Bernie Sanders. Do you take optimism in the fact that when the rubber hits the road, he has actually been forced to compromise in his career? Or, is it a purity test and he failed?
I actually think the argument that Bernie makes about the Violence Against Women Act and that was the portion of the crime bill that he supported is a pretty evident fig leaf of total baloney. That crime bill was overwhelmingly supported. I've made this point many times. No politician in recent memory has ever gotten up and run on a platform that was soft on crime. It doesn't happen. That was the mood back then. I think Bernie was supporting the crime bill, and he's come up with what I think is a fairly nifty reason. When remember, a reason is just another fancy word for excuse for voting for it. I admire the fact that he says that he regrets it.
It's not an after-the-fact regret, although he regrets the vote. It was a real time. If you look at
that's my point.
The video in 1994, so you're saying he was excusing it in real time.
Yes, because he knew that politically he had to vote for it, and if he didn't, he would get annihilated in ads. And he had to come up with something, because Bernie's always been a progressive, right, to sort of appease even his base back then. This is me sort of giving you a little bit of my cynical take on things. And I just think those, to our meta point here, which is those kinds of political calculations get made all the time.
Is there anybody running for the presidency that haven't made one of those calculations? So
Warren made a calculation on Medicare for All and got punished by the electorate. Bernie apparently is triangulated in different ways throughout his career.
Yeah, by not doing the math.
And Warren also made a calculation to not accept super PAC money until she did.
Yeah. And listen, my point is simply that I sometimes get very frustrated by the position of Bernie supporters that it's like the guy is perfect and unassailable. I think he's got problematic pieces of his legislative and political past, as do all of the other candidates. We are picking amongst imperfect solutions to a huge problem whose name is Donald John Trump in the White House, right? But they're human beings. They're not weird cyborgs, they're going to make compromises. They're going to take some votes that they regretted. They're going to have to get money from somewhere. So in any case, it's been an interesting week. I know we're going into the break, but of course, because I knew it was coming on your show, I printed out the 88 pages of the Don McGahn opinion.
Oh, good.
That just came out from the Federal Appeals Court. So we can talk about that, and I certainly will dissect it on my show coming up in the 6 o'clock hour.
Come back with us. More of our good friend Maggie Dawn of the Resistance and the Devil's Advocates taking you up to 6.
is totally taken out of context.
Join the Democratic Party of Sauk County for our third annual spring fundraiser, emceed by Wisconsin's favorite defender of democracy, the Devil's Advocates' one and only Michael Crute. Join us Sunday, March 1st at the gorgeous Four Seasons on the rolling greens of Baraboo Country Club, where Democrats from all over the county and beyond will gather for stimulating conversation, enjoy an award-winning brunch buffet while being inspired by some of the greatest political minds our state has to offer. $40 at the door. Don't miss out.
I'm State Representative Jimmy Anderson. Like me, 25% of American adults have a disability, yet vote at a rate almost 5% lower than the general public. If voters with disabilities turned out at the same rate, that would be over 2 million more votes nationwide. Your vote is your voice, so be heard. Elected officials make decisions on issues you care about, from transportation to Medicaid, but they won't hear your voice if you don't get to the polls. To learn more, call 844-347-8683 or go to disabilityvote.org.
This message brought to you in part by the Wisconsin Disability Vote Coalition.
Milwaukee is a great city with a great history and great architecture. You can take in Milwaukee's history and architecture while you partake in the delicious Wisconsin craft beer at Regano's Roman Coin. The Roman Coin features weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, pinball, a pool table, a jukebox, and a great selection of craft beers. The Roman Coin is also pet-friendly to appeal to the canine crowd, and you can order it from several nearby restaurants. Regano's Roman Coin, 1004 East Brady Street on Milwaukee's east side. This is Dom from the Devil's Advocates. You know, in the 7 years that Crudy and I have been doing the show, we have never had a more engaged, dialed in, and motivated audience, and we love them for it. Now is the time for you to reach the greatest audience ever. Call now, advertise with the Devil's Advocates and Real Resistance Radio. Market your products or services, get your message out, join the resistance. Call us at 414-635-0872. That's 414-635-0872, or go to realresistanceradio.com.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. Perhaps we'll get some callers in with our pal Maggie Dawn of the Resistance. She comes up at the top of the hour. She joins us in studio, 844-967-2789.
Tomorrow, South Carolina, Clemson University says Joe Biden has a big lead. But George Washington University says Bernie Sanders, they took two different models. In both models, Sanders beats Biden. In one case by a small margin, and in the other case, what they called the momentum model, they got Bernie Sanders beating Joe Biden by 10 to 12 points. If he wins by a dozen, Biden is DOA. You might as well stick a fork in him. Joe Biden's candidacy would be done in South Carolina. So what if that happens?
Well, then you got to add Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, and Bloomberg's numbers to Joe's, because not all of them, I mean, that's the problem with billionaires buying themselves into elections. I mean, it's a distorting force. I think all of them are in through Super Tuesday, which, again, I hate, because Super Tuesday, there's a lot of delegates up for grabs, right? And it's like, dear Mr. Buttigieg, love what you got going on here, but you are not going to, there's no set of facts or circumstances in which you become the next president.
Yeah, but aren't
of the
you
United
also
States.
Positioning for your future political ambition?
Yeah, he's done that.
Yeah, I mean
like that box has been checked.
No, but it continues. It never ends. I mean, if he's able to squeeze some more delegates, he has a better negotiating point, perhaps.
Squeeze some more dollars,
right? I mean, there's always something to give. I mean, and why? What's the upside? Let me just ask you this quick. What's the upside for Buttigieg to get out?
If I was Pete, what I would do is right before Super Tuesday, I'd close it up, right, and I'd come out with a big, huge parade of an endorsement for someone else and try to keep yourself relevant that way. I mean, what I was going to butt in and say was, listen, this strikes at the very heart of what public servants and elected officials should be, which is men and women that care about things beyond themselves. And right now, this election is probably the most important election that we will see for many years to come.
At least 4.
Yeah, at least 4 years. And they need to think, bigger than themselves. Like, get out of the way. Let Bernie and Joe duke it out. Let's figure this out so that we don't have a stinking brokered convention, so that it doesn't have to be about super delegates, and that we have one candidate who clearly comes in July with a super majority of delegates, and we can all
Maggie,
go, okay, that's our guy.
What if it's not Sanders and Biden. Let's say Biden falters tomorrow in South Carolina, and the last man standing is Michael Bloomberg. How are you going to feel about that?
I will be voting for Bernie. I mean,
over Bloomberg.
Yes, Mike Bloomberg is not a Democrat. He's a
Either
Republican.
is Bernie, right?
That's true, but his policies and platforms align more closely with my value system than do Mike Bloomberg's. I'm also not going to vote for a man that has a storied history of treating women like absolute crap. Now, I've got problems with Bernie on that same count, particularly among some of his supporters, but it's less acute, literally picking between the lesser of two evils on that point for me.
He's got a certain talent for this.
Oh, yeah.
Maggie.
That's our president talking about Mike Pence's talent for managing the coronavirus. Just
Maggie,
look at what he
state
did
of
with
Wisconsin.
AIDS in Indiana. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
New polling out. Marquette University Law School poll out yesterday. Bernie's got all the momentum, seemingly, since Crudy went all in the tank for him about a month ago.
It's all Crudy.
But Bernie Sanders has shifted significantly into the lead. I think by the time Wisconsin comes up on April 7th, Bernie Sanders will take more than 50% of the electorate here.
A lot of days between now and April 7th.
Not a lot. I mean, we're turning into March on Sunday.
But literally,
it's like 5 weeks.
I mean, we thought Joe could have been done after Nevada, right? And
coulda, shoulda, woulda, but please continue.
My whole point is that these winds have been shifting pretty quickly. And if you see some action after Super Tuesday and some people dipping out, that could change the landscape significantly.
Now, we're going to see, presumably, and we don't know, I don't know, Maggie, but we're going to see Super Tuesday come and go. And let's assume whoever's in second place, let's call it Joe Biden, he survives South Carolina, has a good Super Tuesday, but presumably still going to be trailing Bernie Sanders in the delegate race. Don't you think that's disadvantageous for Joe Biden? I think it's the same thing that Bernie suffered from the last time around. Hillary Clinton was always in the lead. It was an insurmountable lead, and any positive outcome never seemed to allocate enough delegates for Bernie to make up any ground. This time, that could be Biden's problem. Or
which has been the problem with Bernie's complete and total utter about face on superdelegates and on brokered conventions. I mean, it is totally and completely hypocritical because he was Joe Biden this last cycle 4 years ago, and he was going after the superdelegates going into the convention. He wanted a brokered solution. So again,
but
Bernie's not a perfect candidate.
But I don't know why the discussion. I mean, everyone knows the rules when they get into the game. I mean, it's not like these things changed. It wasn't.
But they changed the rules for Bloomberg.
Listen. I'm talking about the convention itself. They changed. They knew what the rules were. They dealt with it. Bernie didn't like the outcome. A lot of people didn't like the outcome. They made some changes, as they do. Right. This is they got new rules, and everybody knows the new rules. Yep. Why are we now talking about these kinds of? Just follow the rules. You don't like it, change them again. Well, but you know the rules.
That's what I think. That's what people are saying, and I think that's what Bernie's objecting to. That's his now newfound objection to these different phases of voting in the superdelegates. Oh, they shouldn't have super. Well,
why did you agree to the rules?
That's right.
Well, that's the same argument. And he doesn't get to set the rules. He can either enter the race or not enter the race. But his objection to the superdelegates having outsized weight, be it on the first ballot or during the primary or on the second ballot, that has not been inconsistent. Still
yes,
doesn't
it has.
like the super.
Totally, completely.
Still
that is
doesn't
false.
want the superdelegates.
Yes. Oh my God.
No, that's not true.
No, he went after.
He tried to win a race after the fact when he had lost.
No, this is totally false, Mike. He went after he went after the superdelegates, and that is very clearly in the record in 2016. He is now opposed to superdelegates.
He did try to switch enough superdelegates to beat Hillary Clinton. He tried to win the race, no doubt, by the rules of the race, but that doesn't mean he did not oppose the superdelegates that put their weight on the scale against him, just like he opposes the superdelegates in the second ballot if they choose someone other than the eventual nominee. In this case, he thinks he'll be the front runner. Yes, it's inconsistent, but not in regards to superdelegates.
I respectfully disagree.
Well, that's why you got a show, and we're done with this one. Want to thank our good guest and fine friend, Maggie Dawn. She will go next uninterrupted by Crudy, probably, unless I call in.
Right.
No, I hope you do. Love you guys, man. It's fun.
Dawn of the Resistance is next. We are the Devil's Advocates. We're going to go to Super Tuesday in Minnesota, Klobuchar territory. We'll broadcast up there. Maggie Dawn's going to cover for us on Tuesday. Very happy and proud that she will do so. And don't forget, all the presidential candidates will be on the air live starting at 7 on Monday. This week in Maxink Radio. And don't forget, Earl goes off at 12. And Development Matters with our friend Ken Harwood tomorrow morning at 10. Listen to it all. Never turn it off.
So, Peter, what's happening?
Everything you want.
You're wrong.
Me so horny. Me love you long time.
Congratulations for staying awake all day.
So thank you.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teams